human perspective.
Is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
From Unbiased on the Fence, Shane.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything. I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
I want to thank you for watching, listening, liking, subscribing, and for those who support this channel financially. Thank you. Lots of love and light to everyone out there.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to The Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and on the Fence.
Unbiased and on the Fence.
Happy New Year, everyone. It is 2019, the first Love Stream, and this is great because we had our Austin get-together, and I brought on our two hostesses. And let me unmute you guys and get your names up there. Kind of rusty. I haven't done this since last year, so. Okay. Angie and Diane, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shane, for having us on. Howdy.
Howdy.
I got my horse in the back.
Yeah, I should have my cowboy hat on right now that Frank got me. That was really nice of him.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, I actually have I've got a little, for those who's just tuning in or whatever, I have a little, like slideshow I'm going to play here in a second with some of the highlights. I don't have any video in it. It's like a video of images. So I've got more video that's going to go into the video I'm going to create. It's going to be a separate video for the get-together and everything. But I wanted to bring you guys on because you guys did such an excellent job at hosting this event down there. I mean, gosh, Angie put in so much work with decorating, and it looked like this huge party. And Diane, wow, that house out there on the lake was just magnificent. And it was, I don't know, it was just two wonderful venues to have this thing at, and I really couldn't have asked for anything better, to be honest. So I wanted to thank you guys publicly, tell you how much I love you for doing this, and everyone else there loves you and appreciates it too. They've been telling me, hey, I forgot to really thank her. Let me thank them. So here it is officially.
Sweet. Thanks. Thanks. We love it. We enjoy it.
So just from the hostess perspective, did you guys, was anything tore up or anything?
Well, I had wine stains going down my wall, but I did that.
Oh, you did it?
The only mess that was made was the mess I made.
That's hilarious. Okay, yeah, you had me nervous there for a second. I'm like, oh no.
I thought I
look what you guys did now.
What'd you say, Diane?
It wasn't me.
Oh.
I said I thought I spilled that the wine, but Angie took all the credit for it. But I helped up. Just dangled paper towels, dropped them one by one over her head. That was an easy clean.
Diane started dancing, and we got excited, and I just hit the bottle, and it just fell over and knocked the wine glasses down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who else was involved with that? I don't know. Frank, was he there? I think he was helping clean up. But yeah, it was kind of weird how that happened. It's like they just flew off. None of us knew who did it. But,
it was my fault.
Everything was good at the lake. Everything was great. I think it looked better than when we got there.
Yeah, we cleaned up the lake house yesterday with the help of Asuko and Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And all these artists, amazing, all the amazing people we got to meet and get to know. Of course, some people we didn't get to talk to as much, and other people we got to talk to a little bit longer. And we got to see those artwork probably about half an hour before Angie and Natsuko left. And it's amazing. We were just like, wow, this many days we've been with you, and we have no idea what you were creating. And it was just blew us away.
Yeah, it's magical.
It was. It's really, really, really amazing. It's just, she's master level. She's up there. It blew me away. Seriously, it blew me away.
It's so cool that you guys continued the party after we left and stuff, and that the connections were made, and people, it's connections that are made for a lifetime, I feel like, and it was just an awesome experience. I had really two kind of weird synchronistic things that I realized. One was that over a third of the people shared names with other people there. So we had two Sherrys, two Angies, two Megans, and two Susans.
Susan, the other one.
Yeah.
Two Angies, two Sherrys, two Megans, and two Susans.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, we were like, do you have a middle name? Because we need to distinguish you guys.
Now, this is the other thing that's weird. I hit the trip counter when I filled up with gas when I left town, and went all the way there, went all the way back, and I was sitting in my garage looking at my tripometer, and it said 111.1, and then I realized my tripometer only goes to 1,000, so my trip was 1,111 miles there and back. I got 1111 going there and back. Even the 0.1, it was crazy. So it was 1111.1 miles all the way there and all the way back, all the driving I did in between or whatever there. So that was weird. I was like, it gave me chills. It was, that's like way more.
That's amazing.
Yeah, than a clock. People are like, yeah, it's coincidental, but how can you say that is, I don't know.
That's no. I love 11. That's my favorite number for 10 years now. Yeah. Love 1111. I had a little one. It wasn't as big as that one, but when I left Angie's, what was it, Friday night? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. And I was traveling almost an hour south, and so I put in all my info, and it said arrival time 11:11. And I'm like, I wonder if I'll really get there at 11:11 with all this rain and stuff. And I did. It was cool.
That's what happened to Atsuko and I think Megan were riding together, and they said that we'll be there at 11:11 on their thing, and they showed up right at 11:11. It was weird. The synchronicities were really off the chain. I want to start this Austin reel in the background so people can see some of the highlights and some of the wonderful decorations and things you did while we're talking, just to give them something to look at here.
When Asuko and I were driving to Diane's last night, there was a car in front of us, and the plate said 1111, and I pointed it out. So wow. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I kind of like.
He said y'all had a 2222. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone. Are you trying to illustrate or talk about the illustrations you've got on the computer? I'm sorry.
No, not at all. I'm just sort of letting it roll. It's going to loop in the background, so.
Okay.
I was talking about it in the license plate. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's okay.
I'll wait. Go ahead.
No. She was done. She was talking about the license plate. What were you saying, Diane?
Susan said she and Shai had a synchronicity with you at 2:22.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I got a 2:22 something and sent it to her, and then she they had already. Oh, I know what it was. So yeah, I showed up at my house at 2:22 from the trip home, and I totally forgot about the whole the mileage thing. Blew me away so much that I forgot that not only did I have the mileage thing, but I showed up at my door in my driveway at 2:22. So like a double synchronicity, and one like that's nearly impossible to have like nailed it like that. You know what I mean? The mileage or whatever.
And they had a synchronicity at 2:22.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly how that happened. And it's like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, they had a synchronicity at that same time, and she had texted me some pictures, so when I opened up my text, she was there, and I just told her real fast about the 222 thing, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I just had a 222 one too. So yeah, it's just crazy. It was doing that the whole time we were there, you know, just all these synchronicities.
And that's the same day I had a synchronicity with Megan, Megan with the dog, and so I had just sent her a picture of her and Travis, and because I didn't have Travis's number, and I said, would you share this? And she goes, wow, that's so cool. Right when your text came in, I was put the meditation stone, you know, the crystal that you made, Angie. I don't know what you want to call it, the little quartz crystal. She said I had just put that and was giving the whole group a hug, and it exactly when I did that, your text came in. That was another one. She thought it was very, very cool to her. So
that's cool. I'm looking at the slideshow right now. That's really cool, Shane. I've seen these are pictures. A lot of them I haven't seen before.
Yeah, hot off the press. I just stuck a bunch of them in a folder, and like I have it looped or whatever. So yeah, I guess
I've got.
Go ahead. There's a delay, so sorry about that. So if you start talking, you can just continue talking, and the other person will notice and stop, because you know what I mean. So it's fine. It's like a 2 or 3 second delay.
Quiet for a minute. I'm listening to the cows moo. They'll give me the signal when I can talk.
Megan, I got your crystal right now. The amethyst sphere that you gave out. Those little mushroom pouches. Those are really cool. Thank you again for that.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome of her. And I've got a video of Megan and Atsuko that I'm going to play where they're talking about the stuff they did. And so, yeah, and so people will figure out who people are a little bit better because the timing's off. So if we start naming people, it won't be lined up and you guys will be more confused than we already are. So there's like a 15-second delay. So people were like, who's everybody in the picture? I only recognize Shane and Sherry. So Atsuko.
There's one person I don't recognize. I don't remember seeing the emoji guy there. Messing. I would have noticed him. He's got the bright yellow head and the thing.
That's Travis. I was like, at least get in the picture. If you don't want to be in there, I can, like, you know, censor you out or something. But at least we'll have it for our own thing. So
I did it, Travis. I broke out. My face is out there. This is the first time for me too. Shane's breaking my YouTube cherry.
Yeah, and I asked Megan if she was cool with it too. I knew the other Megan was cool because I've already shown her and Atsuko on when they got together in California, but I wasn't sure about the other Megan. And then I actually texted Stephanie, and she's like, unless I slipped dimensions, I wasn't in any pictures. And I was like, oh, wait, that's not you. What am I thinking? So, but anyway, yeah, so she'll be in the other video because she did the little glass art things. That's really cool. And I wish I'd gotten pictures of everybody. So anybody that was there, and if you can take a picture of your glass art that Stephanie made and email that over, I can add that to the video too, because I've only got my piece and I think Megan's piece. So I'd like to include it because it was such a variety of artwork that it was just really cool to see. Very, very nice stuff.
Lots of artists there.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, lots of artists.
Yeah, very cool.
Y'all hear the moo cow?
No. Are you? You're not at the lake?
Well, I'm at another lake. I'm at my lake away from home away lake.
Oh, okay. And you got cows there, huh?
I do. I came to my writing spot. I came back to my daughter's, and because it's my home base, and the dogs were been too noisy, so I said I'm going to go to my writing spot with there's a dozen black Angus cows, and so I'm over here on the lake, with all this stuff in my truck. I got a ton of rosemary before I left Tom's, so I'm like over here with my rosemary and barbecue, potato salad, some sparkling water, and I'm happy.
That's funny. We didn't get any, I guess we didn't get any images with everybody in it. So we got group photos, several of them, and none of them had everybody. You know what I mean? So it's,
yeah, I think there were too many to fit in the camera. There's a lot of people there. It's probably like, what, over 20?
Yeah, and we always needed somebody to take the picture, so I was trying to figure out.
We'll hire up a
Yeah. Or I got a timer on my phone. I got to set it up on a table and ran over there really fast and cheese.
Yeah. I think we were all just too busy having fun to think about stuff like that.
Yeah, that's funny because it's like hardly anybody was really taking pictures the whole time. We would remember every now and then, and everybody like, oh yeah, and we had this stack of phones. We're like, somebody would take a picture, grab another phone, take a picture, grab another phone, take a picture, grab another phone, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. We should just email each other all of our pictures, but everybody knows how that is.
Yeah, it would be nice if everybody shared the photo. The whole 4-day event, I took like maybe 2 pictures and no video the entire time. I can't believe I did that.
You were a busybody though.
Crazy.
Keeping things going and stuff.
Well, Angie, I was just floored when I walked in your door. I could not believe all the beautiful decorations and mass quantity of beautiful snacks, and your chocolate cake was so good. It was just amazing. So nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I even started it with the table, the thing you made it for the table. That was cool with the logo on it and all that. That was just so awesome.
Yeah.
Just all the decorating was just off the chain. I love your artwork. All original artwork, the galaxy background, and that table thing that's actually starting over right now.
I didn't make space. You say original artwork. I didn't make space. No, I stole your logo without your permission, but I figured you'd be okay with it.
Oh, yeah, totally fine.
That's the name of the game right now, stealing all the artwork, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I never
Is that what everybody's trying to... Well, everybody, you have to put what do you call it? The white, or what do you call it? Like the little rock across your artwork.
Watermark.
The ink across.
Yeah, the watermark.
Yeah,
right?
Shane never. You didn't watermark your logo, Shane. So I was able to just go in and hijack it.
Yep.
You know what I think?
For a good reason.
You know what
I stole it for good, not for.
Yeah, it wasn't nefarious at all. So yeah. Like that would have been funny if I showed up and I'm like, what the hell, you're using my logo?
Like prove it's your logo.
Right.
Did you trademark it?
No, actually I didn't. Somebody could totally steal it from me.
Angie, tell the story about when a lady stole your artwork.
Oh, you mean the one in San Antonio?
Yeah.
Which one? There was a woman. I sell digital artwork online, and it's really easy to buy my original art, and then anybody could just steal it, I guess, basically, and resell it. And the lady that lives in San Antonio was doing that, and she lived 10 minutes from me. I found out. I looked her up, and she lived 10 minutes. She owned a doggy salon. And I just said, I can come to your house and we can have a conversation about it. And she said, if you threaten me again, I'll call the police. And I'm like, I'm not threatening you. We can, just have a conversation about it. Anyway, needless to say, she took my artwork down.
Yay!
That's funny. Yeah, I've noticed like my Photoshop thinker statue on all sorts of thumbnails because it's like the only one available. I'm like, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. It's the only one available. It's like, and I Photoshopped somebody else's thing.
Yeah, they need it. That's important for the Mandela Effect community.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think probably the coolest thing of all for me is just being able to get together with people and tell people, hear people's stories and tell your own stories, and everyone's really interested in what you have to say and your experiences. And there's like, it's like non-judgmental. Nobody's trying to tell you, you know, I don't know. It was just the coolest group of open-minded people I've ever been around. And everyone could talk freely.
Anybody could say like anything, and nobody judged anybody. We were just all just completely comfortable telling our weirdest, most bizarre stories, and we were just all fascinated by each other. Like, tell me more, tell me more. I don't want to go to bed.
I'm so glad we had it unstructured like that, because it was like just being able to, like, I mean, I loved Sedona or whatever. The place was beautiful or whatever. But as far as like, you know, I found people like in between speakers, which the speakers were great. I'm not down in them or anything like that. That was all awesome. But people were like loving the hanging out thing between speakers. And it was like hard to settle them down and get them back in their seats for the next speaker, because people are enjoying and just really enjoying the hanging out part and getting to meet people and all that. And it was like, it was just the opposite in Austin. It was like, we had a few meditations, and like, you know, it was voluntary. Nobody had to go join in with the prayer or meditation or anything like that. But it was like, besides that, it was like, you know, people off getting Reiki and just hanging out, and a group outside hanging out, and just people mingling everywhere. It was just so freaking cool, you know?
Cool.
I'm glad we left it
really
open.
I really enjoyed all of Sandy's meditations. They were really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Sandy's so cool. She's I feel like she's my big sister from another time or something.
Yeah.
She's so enlightened. Just beautiful, grace. I love all these beautiful, you know, like very relaxed. I'm like, you know, Angie and I are pretty much warriors, so it's kind of like, oh, you know, it's so nice to be in, you know, a gentle spirit. You know, it's like, oh, this is so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Diane's a freaking hoot. She's awesome. And Frank's too funny. He's got a huge heart, and he's hilarious. It was to the point where when we were in serious meditation circles, I couldn't sit next to him because I would laugh so hard, because he would say something, and then I would say something, and I'd lose it. At one point, I had to walk away 4 times so I could contain myself, because I had ugly cry face, and I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, Frank, please shut up. This is inappropriate for me to be laughing right now.
I know Diane has a dry sense of humor, so she kept like cracking jokes at times, and like I was like laughing out loud, and everyone was like looking at me like, why is he being rude and stuff? And you know, she was, you know, just the thing she was saying was hilarious, but she doesn't like laugh with it, so it sounds like she's being serious. It's like a sarcastic, humorous thing. She a couple of times she said something, you know, and people were looking at me, and I'm like, I get you, Diane, you know.
Yeah. Diane's awesome. I could talk to Diane forever.
When I first met, you know, the owner of the lake house, I was just, he goes, you know, we saw each other at a party about a year later, and he goes, you know, Diane, these people, they don't really get you, but I do. Like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me that. but, you know, it's like, oh, thank you. You know, people will let you know a lot about yourself if you know, you're like, wow, that's cool. And the things that you don't really know about yourself. And if you're listening, and it might be like a family member when you're, you know, 50, and it's like, wow, I never knew y'all thought that. Well, that's kind of cool. I think maybe I can embrace that. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I got to tell you, my favorite thing that made me crack up laughing was during our last meditation when Sandy was doing the singing bowl in the big living room, and Alan, he was sitting there in this meditation, and he went down so deep. He was snoring so loud, sitting up, you know, cross-legged on the floor, and I was sitting pretty close to him, so about every, I don't know, minute, somebody'd open their eyes and look back like, what is that? Because it was going, you know, and it was so, I don't, just kept laughing because of I just smiled back at the person like, it's groovy, it's okay. So just little things like that are just amazing. It's like, okay, it's like, yes, it was a great, all the meditations that Sandy did was fabulous. The first one is like, I haven't been that relaxed in a long time. It's like, I did not want to even come back. It's like, let me just sleep here for a minute. So they were beautiful.
That's what Alan did.
Yeah.
Pardon?
That's what Alan did, she said.
Yeah, it is. Oh, here comes the big boss cow over here. He's like, what is she doing here? She's only here in the mornings.
Yeah, that was hilarious with the last meditation.
So
it was all fun.
I have a question for you, Shane. You listened to Leak Project about the whole lunar eclipse on the January 20th?
Sheldon, what's his name? Sheldon something.
Sheldon Moore. Yeah, Sheldon Moore.
Sheldon Moore, that's right.
So, yeah. So there was another video last night on Leak Project, and so Angie, I was trying to get Shane to call Sheldon, get him on. It's like just days away from this, and then I was like, oh wow. After you and Otsko left, I'm like, oh wow, I got it. So I spent another couple of hours on that after you guys left, and I'm just like going, okay. One of his big things is just be in nature. That like during that time. Yeah. And then how you learn things about yourself. It's like, oh my God, I have to be in nature. I mean, absolutely have to be in nature. And I'm like, I think I'm putting too much, I need to do this and I need to do that. Because I was like going, I need to get an RV and go to Stone Mountain for this particular eclipse. Yeah. And it's like, because that's where I want to. And so I'm like, well, do I want to drive to Georgia? That's kind of like, maybe overboard. Can I find a spot? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought I was going to do the whole thing at the lake house. And I told Tom, I don't want to do this here. I got to find another spot. And so now I'm like in limbo. I don't know where my spot is for the lunar eclipse. I might just come down here with the cows or something. I don't know. But
well, that's nature.
Yeah, I want you to try to get Sheldon on. I just love him so much. If I could go to Canada, if he was doing an event there, I'd go there. But maybe we don't need to go anywhere. Maybe we can just do it all from within and not worry so much about where we're at, Yeah. So I'm rethinking the all of that, It's like, but I'm a little OCD on it because it's not going to happen again for 1,000 years. All these, how it started. Blood moons, April 14th, and 2014. So this is like kind of the last hurrah. It's like wow. So
yeah, I was actually thinking about having you on to discuss some of the techniques and stuff. If I can't get him on, or at least you fill me in on it, and I can just cover it, because it's like if he can't get on within the next few weeks, we still need to cover it because we can't. It's got like an expiration date on it. Yeah.
Yeah, like bullet points of like not eating that day.
Yeah.
Because they say that they like in China or rather in India they tested it and they're like, do not eat during this period of time because it turns exactly into poison for your system that day. So they have all the scientific experiments, and I just think we just have such a wonderful amount of knowledge coming out, and it's hard. I'm kind of an old timer, I'm close to 60, and it's like, well, shoot, I was just thinking this weekend how, if we wanted something enlightening back in the 90s or 80s or 70s, we had to go buy the book, or the tapes were expensive. You had to pay $50 for a couple of cassette tapes, and or at least $20, $30, and it's like, well, that $20 in today's money is more like, $70. And so we had to pay a lot for it. I begged the librarians, please. I was always begging the librarian, oh, please, can you get this? Can you get this? They're like, we'll see, Diane. But the knowledge, what is at the fingertips of this particular time it's amazing. It's just like, wow. I mean, I'm over here like, it takes me a while, but I'm over here listening to old teachers that I'm like, wow, I never could afford those cassette tapes, and they're right here.
Yeah. I was talking,
anyway,
I think it was you, Diane. I was actually talking to a while back. I'm pretty sure it was you, where you were trying to dig out your old, like, binaural beats or something, and then you realized you can just get on YouTube and find this stuff now for free.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's hard to, it's hard to shift because, I try to keep the old technology and the new technology in my world. It's like, why are you writing it? Even my own father's like, why are you writing a check to the electric company? Why don't you just do the automatic bill pay? And it's like, I just want to keep it straight, Dad. I don't want the internet technology to have too much. So, so I'm kind of like, I want to keep the old stuff and, like 1,000 books and, that whatever. It's hard because I guess I'm just one of those that don't trust that. Well, I know for sure that, like with the university, if a student is going to do a paper, because I've seen it firsthand, they are only allowed to use the digital library and maybe one book on some of the projects. And so I tried to help my daughter once. She knew I'd be so good at this particular subject, and it turned out to be crazy to do this paper because I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, I've got a whole huge library full of stuff. She goes, but we can't use that. We can only use these people here. And it took us forever to do it. But when she finally did turn the paper in, she was pissed at me. She was like, because she's a perfectionist, and it's like, oh, man, she'll never get my help again after that. But she, on the next day, I mean, we were up all night. She got 1 hour sleep, and at noon she even skipped the class and got the paper in right before noon. And but when she did get it in, the the instructor asked her to please join, please, change your career mode over here. We need you over here, because to do what we did with that paper was it was a great feat for what we had to use for resources. Mm-hmm. And I knew right then, it's like, okay, that's not right. But that was the way it was. So, it's, so I think a lot of the trust in putting in ebooks and, like scaling your library down, it's just not smart at all. After that, I knew, no, I'm not giving up my hardback at all, so, but anyway.
Yeah. Can you think of how much knowledge would be lost if the internet went down and everything's on the cloud or some kind of electric device, and we're like plunged into the Stone Age because everybody's gotten rid of their books? That's crazy.
An EMP hits us, everything's gone. Hey, Diane, a couple of people are asking, what days do you fast? For how long? What days for the lunar?
Okay. Well, so I'm doing it a little bit more ahead of time, but basically Sheldon's instruction is like 2 days before. Go ahead and start, like, you want to, like, kind of empty your mind of and be in nature.
And we're talking about January 20th and 21st of the lunar eclipse on January this month.
Well, because it falls at, I think, approximately 11:30, maybe it's 11:36 Central Time, I think. Mm-hmm. And then, but it goes into like another half hour into the 21st. So it's the 20th and the 21st. So it only lasts, I believe, for 56 minutes. But on the day of the 20th is the day you want to fast. That would be the day.
And is it a complete fast from everything, or just water only, or
water and broth? Or what do you?
Yeah, I grew up in that Pentecostal contingency. So when they fasted, they were allowed to have water, coffee, tea, and so just liquids. Mm-hmm. So water, make lemon water or green tea or chamomile tea. I would say those kind of things, just something to keep you relaxed. But yeah, I fasted up to 40 days before, so it's after day 5, it is really freaked some family out that I was actually doing that. But after day 5, you don't really need food after that. You go, or even day 3, it's kind of like like you go into ketosis. So that's the whole keto thing. So as long as you're having your fluids, and and I would say during that period of time, I had like a little bit of, like a little bit of beef broth and, just fluids. So like a 1-day fast is really just part of the training of detachment, because we shouldn't always need things like, you shouldn't need air conditioning all summer, but, we're spoiled to it. And so, your body, like in the cold, you don't really need a heavy jacket if it's 45 degrees, because your body, does its own thing and creates heat. So, just putting your body through different tests. But like a 1-day fast is really good for you. And, 3 weeks, 3 days, any of those things anybody can do. But so 1 day shouldn't be too bad. But it does, for the fact of they've proven scientifically it's poison doing there, it's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to summarize just so people that are like, what's the fast all about or whatever. So on the Leak Project, there's this 4-hour interview with Sheldon Moore, is it? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Sheldon Moore.
There's a few of them, but February 18th, I believe, was one of the ones that I had listened to, and then there was another one done yesterday.
Oh, okay. I didn't know there was one done recently, so I'll have to check out because the one you sent me was 2 days ago, so it definitely wasn't the one from yesterday. But I wanted to explain.
I sent you a text.
I just want to explain what it was actually with so, to become enlightened typically takes years and years and years of doing all this Buddha practice and all this stuff. But what he was saying is during a total lunar eclipse, you can almost like flip the switch during the eclipse. I mean, it's like a powerful time, and that gets into so many other little belief systems about whether, the hologram of deception is projected from the moon, and maybe it's sort of shut down at that time or low on power if it's solar powered, or there's so many theories that could play into this whole idea of being able to really take a huge leap in your awakening or your enlightenment just in a single night. So, but there's things you can do that can assist that, fasting being one of them, and being out in nature, like you were saying. But that's pretty much this whole premise that we're talking about. And, that's me taking 4 hours and crunching it down into a couple of sentences there.
Yeah, and it gives anybody that's interested a chance to explore, because you may have spent 100,000 lifetimes, and if you don't know the timing and the technology, then you can miss it.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was just given this information early December and it's a timing thing, and everything seems to be fast forwarding. Okay, we get this information, we only have so long to work on it, but that's like 19 days, and and you have to go into it with no expectation. Mm-hmm. And if something happens, bonus, and but it's worth trying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about. It's all things that would work good either way. You know what I mean? It's like fasting's good for you. Being out in nature is good for you. So even if nothing happens and you're not you don't flip some kind of switch or whatever, it's time well spent either way. So well worth a try.
Yeah. So let's go back to our gathering, because I threw us way off track. So I have to say that I learned, the best thing I learned was Frank taught me how to give a really big hug, really heartfelt hug. Mm-hmm. He has the best hugs ever. And I noticed by the end of the gathering, just giving so much better hugs than I normally do. So thank you, Frank.
Yeah, Frank's a hugging machine. Show you how it's done.
I'd say one of the funniest things, I hope this is all right to talk about, but Overprotected Sherry had brought these bendies.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Okay, so she brought these little
bendies. Sherry.
Oh, I loved them. That's not what's funny to me. It's that. So we all had these bendies on our forehead, and some of the girls had ones that looked like little jewels, like on their right on their third eye or whatever, and then some of us had like just dots. Like I had a purple one on my forehead, and so everybody was wearing these things, and like the heater and air guy shows up, and we're like, I don't know, it just had to look funny or whatever. But the other Angie showed up, and you know, I knew that, you know, her guy was into UFOs and stuff, but I thought he would probably think the bendies were pretty weird. But I told Sherry, I'm like, hey, they need their bendies, you know, and I sent her over there to see if he would wear one or not. But he's like, I'll pass on the dot, thanks, or whatever. But it must have looked really funny.
That's funny. Well, the heating and air guy, he's from Austin, and Austin is like keep Austin weird. So to him, it was like nothing. You know.
You don't think he knows?
He didn't think anything of it. I'm sure he's seen weirder.
Hard to keep Austin weird. We've been working a long time to keep Austin weird. I had friends that would move from Midland and different places, and they're like, after a couple of months, they're like, what the hell is going on in Austin? I got dressed up to go to the opera. People are showing up in holy jeans. And it's like, what is, you know, because they were wearing like fur coats. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. You can wear whatever you want. Nobody thinks anything about it. You can wear the fur coat. It's okay. But so it is interesting how, you know, in Dallas, you know, they really dress up. They dress up beautifully. And then Austin's kind of like, you know, bumming around. And like, yeah. You know, when those Black Lives Matter came in, the Soros buses to Austin, we're all looking at them like, they're, you know, just like, oh, wow, they're so ridiculously dressed. Who would wear a tie-dye T-shirt with that? You know? It's like, they didn't fit in. They just didn't fit in. We're just laughing at them. It's so funny. And, of course, you know, Alex Jones is here, so they got great video. And, you know, it's just like they try to get something started here, and it's just like, no, we just don't really care. Go away.
That's not going to hold. It's not going to hold any water here, guys. You can give it a go, but we're just going to crack up at you.
Sherry said the heating and air guy told her he's seen worse. So.
No, really. I'm sure, yeah. I can only imagine.
That's crazy.
It was fun, though. I loved the bendies. They were really cool.
Sandy says Portland is weird, too. I think every place is weird in its own way, you know?
Yeah, they say there's a lot of similarities between Portland and Austin. Never been to Portland, but maybe one day.
Yeah, I've never been
I'll
that
have
far
to
west.
Come visit Sandy.
Yeah.
Oh, and the day of the fest, I have to add one more thing I just thought of. Play that Three Dog Night, Shambhala. How do you say that? On the road to Shambhala.
Oh.
Get your party started.
We sure know how to combine stuff, don't we? Turn it into some real stuff there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good night.
My kids say, "You're so random, Mom," and I'm like, "I am. Well, thank you."
It's random.
So are you both gonna?
Mine's all over the place.
Are you guys gonna try to make it out to Washington to ECETI? Either of you?
Maybe we could go shopping for that.
I was just talking to Dan today.
I was just thinking that last night, Diane. I was thinking if you get that RV, we go RV shopping, and we could go to ECETI together. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a badass expedition that has a black bra on it. It is brown. It is so gutsy looking, and it's used, but it was some Texas Tech Road Warriors alumni, and I walked in there. I'm like, they had a lot of fun in here. Oh boy, it had camo and everything. I'm like, I love this one. My daughter about flipped. Oh, she's like, Mother, not this one. And I'm like, I think I like it. So it's pretty cool. So it's like about a 39-footer, and I think I'm just itching to get one, but I'm not buying I'm not doing anything until, I feel like if I'm going to, be going through all these earth changes, I need to put my books in a safe spot with me on the road.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, tell us about the date y'all are going to be doing.
Actually, we've narrowed it down to August. We're going to try to shoot for something in August. So right now the calendar on ECETI isn't up yet, so we need to, but we're trying to aim for August sometime because I think one of the biggest get-togethers is 4th of July, and we're like, well, you know, it'd probably be expensive to fly during the holiday, so instead of joining in with the biggest one, maybe we should either throw our own event there or try to go to the second biggest instead of one that's on a holiday when travel expenses, lodging, everything's probably going to be more expensive, and you know, everybody's got their budget to stick to. So August, that'll give us another month to prepare to. So that's 8 months away, and yeah, so that's sort of where we're at right now. Just here in the first of the year, we're just now digging into it. And thank you to Shira for emailing James Gilliland as well, because, you know, she's already been out there. Shira, you know, Susan's daughter that was out at the event, she's been there to ECETI before, and so she sent an email for us to let them know.
Does James have a limit on the people that, like, you know, a stop limit on the people that he allows in at a certain time? Like, you know, say 50, 100, and then he cut it off?
Yeah, we were trying to figure that out, because I think just in our group alone, we had, what, 23 or 24 total, I think, at the event down in Austin. So I'm sure that will double easily, because a lot of the people that were going to come and didn't make it said they'll definitely be in at ECETI. So I think that number easily doubles. So I'm saying we'll have it at least 50 people. So I really don't know. I know there's plenty of camping space, but, you know, I think there's cabins and stuff like that, and that might be limited. And then other people go into town and stay at hotels and stuff like that and just drive there during the day. And I know Megan will definitely be one of those, because she says, I don't camp, but I know she's going to be there. So, so yeah.
I got dibs on Diane's RV. I'm calling it right now. So dibs.
I want to lay on the top of it and look at the spaceships and stuff.
Well, we used to get on top of the RV, like during, you know, we did the BMX racing and motocross, so we'd get up on top and watch the race on there. But let me tell you, BMX is, you got to watch your bikes. That is the sport that your bikes get stolen from other. It's crazy. I love that sport. It's like really hardcore.
Moto.
Yeah. Frank might not know what I'm talking about, but yeah. So yeah, it's fun up on. You know, you got a little ladder to climb up there, and you know, it's pretty. You got a pretty hard, solid top. I mean, I might end up having to get a cheaper one with a flimsier top.
We can summon some UFOs from the top of your RV, and if we don't come back down, they know that we've been taken. So that'll be cool.
Well, if you have room, we'll be with you, Diane, but Sherry will probably be there with a Bigfoot mobile RV.
Angie, you can go off with them, but I'm going to stay on top of the roof. I'm just going to stay. I said,
I'm saying, take me, but drop me an In-N-Out burger now. I need to be back in like in half an hour, guys. I'm hungry.
Yeah, that's enough. Yeah, I like the fact that like what Sheldon Moore was talking about the blue people and like the giants, like the Atlanteans were probably giants, and there's good giants probably here on the earth that are actually good ones that are helping. And then, of course, there's the naughty ones, you know, the naughty giants that maybe they picked up in Afghanistan, but, you know, who knows? I don't know, but I'd like to see some of the blue ones, you know.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, like
I'll try it.
Yeah, like Smurfs.
Not like Smurfs, like avatars.
Yeah.
Smurf. Younger people don't know what you're talking about, Diane. No.
Oh, I know. I'm dating myself. But, you know, we can do art. That would be so fun. Everybody, you know, like bring some, you know, like whatever, canvases and beads and whatever anybody's doing. I'll bring the herbs, and so then we can do some medicinal herbs, you know.
You better clarify that.
Yeah.
Or you're going to get pulled over.
Medicinal herbs. Rosemary, people. Rosemary.
Rosemary Jane. I'm just playing.
No, Diane makes a rosemary, medicinal rosemary tonic. You can tell them, but yeah.
Yeah, tell them about that.
Mine's brewing right now in the pantry.
Yeah, mine too. We got ours up in the cupboard, waiting for the 30 days to bust it out. And you just drink the whole thing at one time, you said, right? I'm just teasing.
You don't need to go to Walgreens. You just need to go to the woods and, take your scissors and a bottle of vodka and a mason jar, and you're all set up. I wonder if we can start making potato vodka. We could try making vodka, too, for part of our herbs.
Yeah.
Start making what? I didn't hear that.
Potato vodka,
Oh,
make
potato
our own
vodka. Yeah, we can sell it at the local farmers market, and we can raise money to all go to aesthetic.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it.
I'll make wrapped selenite wands, and you can make rosemary tonic, and yeah.
That's a great idea. We could if your RV has one of those like pull out canopy things on the side, we could like kind of turn it into an herb truck, like herb food truck type thing, and just make money while we're there.
And snow cones.
Step right out, folks. Get your free shot of rosemary tonic.
Make rosemary snow cones.
Yeah.
Well, if they did legalize the marijuana, man, I tell you what, we could be making CBD oil. That stuff is so good for us. It's wonderful. I don't know if Texas is going to legalize it or not, but boy, it seems like everybody else is.
Oh, where were you talking about when you said they legalized it?
No, I said everybody else, all the other states, they're legalizing it, one by one. And we could make CBD oil.
Yeah, we can do CBD oil here in Oklahoma, but not THC.
Yeah.
Take all the fun out of it.
Well, some of us have to taken out, or we would be like on Mars or Jupiter or something. So,
Yeah.
Some of us the new.
we can offer them.
I think Canada's
offer the
good.
blue people some CBD oil.
Yeah.
Yeah. All kinds of.
You were talking about Smurfs and then giants. So Gargamel would be the giant.
Yeah.
And the Smurfs would be the avatars.
Yeah. That would be a big giant if the avatars
people are like Gargamel. What's the Gargamel?
You seem too young to know about the Smurfs, Angie.
We ought to go to draw it for us. God, Shane, you should have seen her artwork. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah, I featured it before when I met her in Sedona. I featured some of her stuff. She even does she's got these really cool reliefs. She got this one of that she did of the Buddha, that was really cool. And yeah, so I've seen her work. It's awesome. It was actually assignments that she did. Really nice though.
Yeah, so we can do all kinds of stuff. Well, guess what? I got to go see my puppy dog. I've got a white Labrador. Is that what he is? Yeah, white lab. And he's only about 8 weeks old. And I'm going to go head back to the casa. The cows left me, so I'm going to go get some puppy dog love.
All right.
Well, puppy dog love.
Go get my puppy dog. I haven't seen these dogs in like 8 days. I need to go get some loving. But anyway, I love y'all so much, and I want to say to Susan and Di and Alan and Harry and Sandy and Frank and Megan and Susan and Susan.
Sherry and Sherry and Angie and Angie.
Yeah. Sherry and Angie. And thank you so much, Shane, and everybody else, Stephanie and Atsuko and everybody. It was so beautiful.
What about Dave? What was your friends that came? David and?
Oh yeah, Dave, Kenya.
David and Kenya. I couldn't remember her name.
Yeah, and I wanted to say when she left, she said, "I want you to know that is the best New Year's Eve party I have been to in ages. I don't even know the last time. So she really enjoyed herself, and Dave, as an engineer, I really enjoyed his take on God, and everything had.
It cut out. You said on what?
On God.
Oh, God. Okay.
Steer's perspective, was really beautiful. That's the first time I met him was that night, and so it was really good. And Angie, thank you so much. You are the hostess with the mostest, girl. You just outdid yourself, and I appreciate it. And everybody else, Frank, thanks for those heaters, and Sandy, thanks for the beautiful singing bowl meditations. Everybody just was amazing. Everybody brought a beautiful piece of a little bit different energy and perspective and, experience. And it was really, really beautiful. I look forward to the next one. So,
yeah, definitely.
Many blessings.
We'll go.
Love y'all.
Go smooch on those dogs for me. Hang around for a second, Angie. I want to talk to you a little longer, if you can. You're not weaseling out. I'm just.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Diane. Love you.
Okay, yeah, I needed help with the rest of the names. Travis, of course, and then we had Terry and Susan, Shira and Alan, Mike and Alex.
Oh yeah, Mike and Alex. Yeah, we had Asuko, Terry. I'm
I think
bad
that's
with
everybody.
names. I'm really
no, I
horrible,
think that's everybody. Let me see. She did say Stephanie, so I don't know the dog's name. So yeah, we knocked out 8 of the people just with the double names. You know what I mean? So
yeah, right.
There's only 15 more after that. So okay. So you know what one of the coolest parts was to me? When we first got to your house that day, and we all had these drums and singing bowls out, and we were like kindergartners in the middle of your living room floor. Like
that was hilarious.
That was so freaking fun, though. I haven't felt that way since I was in kindergarten and sitting on the floor with just a bunch of other kids just playing those kiddie nursery instruments and just being a kid.
It did feel like we were in kindergarten class playing. I was sitting there hitting the drum, and I just kept cracking up laughing. And I turned and I looked at your wife, and I said, "Is it what you thought it was going to be?" And I think she said, "No, I wasn't sure. I've never done this before." And I'm like, "I never done this before either."
Yeah,
I was just cracking up laughing.
She said, "He's in heaven right now. This is what he does by himself."
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Everybody was playing with the bowls. There was, 4 or 5 brass bowls. Sandy had her crystal bowl, and then there was those 3 little toy drums, and then the 2 really nice Native American drums.
Right.
So we had a lot of toys to play with.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was way less structured than I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be like, now let's do this, now let's do that. But it was like everybody was just having a blast.
Everybody gather around, grab a toy.
Yeah. But yeah, it was awesome, and I just wanted to thank you again for coming on and coming out of your box a little bit. I know what it's like. It's taken me a while,
Yeah.
Sort of
well, thank you. I mean, I loved it. It was so awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad we did it, and you brought everybody together. So cool. So if it wasn't for Shane, none of this would have. Well, it wouldn't have happened here. I don't know. It probably would have happened, but just not in Austin. So thank you, Allison Coe, if you're listening.
Yeah, and Lauren. I think Lauren first mentioned doing it. And yeah, so thank you to Lauren and Allison, who were not able to make it, but they helped bring it about. Nonetheless, they did their part.
I was watching the live stream, and Allison said, "Well, where are we going to go?" And you're kind of rattling off places, and I was screaming at my phone saying, "Austin, Austin, Austin," and Allison goes, "Austin," and I was like, "Ah!" Oh my God. I was like, law of attraction. I did it.
Out of all the places.
Oh shit, I got to clean the house.
Well, thanks to you and Diane, who is playing with the dogs now, and everyone that came and made it all happen. And it was beautiful.
Diane's playing with the Longhorns.
Yeah.
Band.
Well, actually, we got other people that were there, and they're going to call in and share their story, I guess. And there in person.
Yes, Frank and Sandy should call in. They're
Yeah.
so funny.
Susan, I think, wanted to call in.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shira
Susan.
can call in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that can call in. Sherry.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, lots of love to you, Angie. Thanks again.
Well, thank you, Shane. This is the first time I've been on the internet, and my hands are still sweaty. But I guess I did it. I made it through.
Was it better once we got started, or did it?
Yeah, I'm still a little nervous, but yeah, it was
like
okay. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
But to everybody, my voice is hoarse right now because I stayed up last night with Asuko and Diane, and we spoke for 11 hours. I got home at 1:30 this morning. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Stephanie too, right?
So
Wasn't she with you guys for a while yesterday?
She came by, and she didn't stay as long as we did, and we just hung around. And I was like, Diane, you want us to leave? And she's like, no. She kept feeding us, and I kept just eating and eating.
Atsuko says good night
Anyway.
and she loves you. And Sherry
Yeah,
earlier
love you
said that
guys,
thank you so much, and she's saying love you,
Oh, you're
Angie.
welcome.
And I guess you're saying the chat.
Everybody's-
Sorry, I forgot you got it open.
Sorry?
Too. I forgot you had it open too.
Yeah.
I don't have to relay it all
Yeah.
to you.
Yes, thank you for everybody for showing up and bringing all your awesomeness and your energy and your stories and your artworks and Asuko's mind-blowing artwork. You guys really need to see it. It's just next level. I looked at her artwork and I was like blown away, and then like 15 minutes later, my left ear started like ringing really loud.
Oh yeah.
And then it stopped, and then we got in the car to leave, and then it started ringing again. And I was like, I think your artwork like might have like activations in it. I'm pretty sure. So she's got to get it out there.
Let me ask you this before I let you go, because I forgot you got a Reiki session from her, did you not, or since then?
I did. Yes, she came by and she gave me a Reiki session. I guess it lasted about an hour, and it felt really great. I saw a little bit of white light, and then it went green to my eyes, and then she put her hands over my eyes, and I just got a whole bunch of purple. Showed up, and
yeah, I got
it just
purple
felt
too.
my muscles felt better. I was so relaxed, like I was just falling asleep. It felt so good. And then she had gotten a lot of Egyptian visions and a woman in white with like a glowing crown. She said there was some other stuff, but a lot of Egyptian connections came through. So it's so cool. She's a Reiki master, and she's really talented. So she's like she's so petite and soft spoken, but she's like super wise. And
Yeah.
like once she starts talking, she's like she'll just blow your mind.
Yeah, definitely.
So, anyway.
Well, awesome. Lots of love to
Anyway,
you, Angie. Thank you so much again. I can't thank you enough.
Oh, you're welcome. Lots of love to you and everybody in the chat room. And you guys are awesome. And hopefully I'll see you again. I'll be showing up in Diane's RV to say hey. And Sandy, I'm gonna come and stay with you for a little while.
Yeah, she said her room's
Okay.
open to you, so you're all good to go.
Well, I'm gonna be there. So awesome. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
All right. Talk to you later.
Love you guys.
Love
Bye-bye.
you too. Bye.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence. Here we are back, and so let's see. We had a few people that wanted to call in and share your stories of what you thought of the Austin event. What was your favorite thing about it? I see at least half the people that were there, so the phone lines are open. And I should put the number on the screen. That would probably help. Bada bing, there it is. 605-562-0444. Pretty sure everybody was from the United States, so you can use that. Ignore the PIN number part and just put in the show ID. That's on the screen here. Okay, let's see here. So yeah, I thought it was awesome. I guess I can talk about the Reiki session I got from Atsuko, because it's like one of those things where you like don't know what to expect. I didn't really expect anything. I was just in it for the experience of it and see what I got and stuff. And it's like one of those things where, you know, you just go into it not knowing what to expect. And is it going to be something to where it's like, is it my imagination or is it something real? Or, and I feel like I passed that threshold of it just being all in my mind and stuff. And I actually felt, you know, the heat and the waves and the visions, lots of those hypnagogic images that you get. Let's see. Let's go. You need a wrench. Especially now that you know how to boink people. Let's see. There you go. Let's go. You have a wrench. Yay, Angie. Okay. Angie's in the chat. She's normally a lurker like I am. Okay. Alright. Well, I guess if no one's calling in, we'll wrap this up for the first show of 2019. Let me see. Terry? Who else do we have in here? Oh, it's just so you can post links in there. And if somebody causes any problems, you can boink them with a wrench, kick them out. You don't have to worry about it though. There's enough boinkers in here. I just basically did so if you wanted to post a link or your, yeah, just post it your, was it Snapchat or? I totally missed. What was it? Oh, your Instagram. When you put your Instagram in there, it held it for review because it's kind of technically linked. You know what? At one point, Dustin's asking me if I met a nurse at my work that does energy healing. Did your hands feel warm? My palms felt warm when she did it to me. At one point, I felt like I was only a head and my whole body was just like numb. And I could like feel the heat like on my face with her hands above me. It was actually strange because it was almost like I felt more when she wasn't touching. Like I could feel the heat like radiating off her hands, and it was like penetrating my head. And so yes, Angie. Let me see here. Nicola Simpson in Australia. Lots of love to you there. In the future, technically. Yeah, it really was cool, Dustin. It was really cool. And of course, she was seeing stuff too. Like she saw this she saw like this, I don't know, like Egyptian, like blue, really tall character. And then when she had her hands on my ankles, it like, this will be in the other video because she talked about it or whatever. And I've already got clips. I've just got to edit it all together. But just so you know that, you know, she had put her hands on my ankles and I like stretched really long, like 20 foot tall, and which is really weird because people talk about the tall version. Phone number is on the screen, 1-605-562-0444. Hey, Carrie. Okay. It's really cool. It was like people were activating each other, just being around, talking to people. It felt very cool. It was like, you know, Megan had collected these gems from all over the world. And, or she had, you know, created this grid with these gems that had been to all these cool sites all over the world and then gave it out to people. So, and then like I was shown how that's sort of like we're crystals and we come together and sort of resonate with each other. Is she calling the number on the screen, Shira? You said she's trying to call. I don't have anybody calling in right now. But yeah, it's 605-562-0444. Let's see. Yeah, I felt the same way, Megan. It was like everybody was activating each other. It felt like, in many ways, like a family reunion, you know? Like we already knew each other or something. It was similar to that, Kate. It was sort of similar to that, but different. It was still different. Can't really say. Like with me and Case, we did the one from Everyday Masters who did the reconnective healing with me. It was like my hands were vibrating afterwards. So, yeah, so. But both of them, I kind of got these jerking sensations in my body a little bit, like spasms or something. So they were both powerful. All right, nobody wants to call in and talk about Austin? 605-562-0444. If not, I'll open it up to everyone that wants to talk about whatever they want to talk about. Making sure I didn't miss anything. What a shame. I'm just kidding. You called, Susan? You called the number on the screen? Huh, that's weird. Yeah, it's not even ringing. All right, let's see. Jose calling in. How's it going?
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Happy New Year to you.
And Happy New Year's to you, too.
So, is it good being back home, or has it been cold there for you?
Well, we just got our furnace refixed again today.
Ah.
A circuit board had blown in 3 weeks usage, so 4 weeks usage. I know, but we have heat again. So this is great, and we have snow. So how was Austin? Yeah.
Oh, wow. You out making snowmen or anything?
No. No, I don't feel like it. Like, I was in Guatemala just not that long ago. I don't care for the snow right now. It's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, so how was...
Austin
was cool?
Yeah, it was really cool. It was, yeah, I don't know. I don't ever, like, get out around people, and, like, all of the reasons I don't normally get out around people, it didn't really happen. So, like, people thinking you're weird or you don't fit in, it was like all the weird kids got together, you know what I mean?
Yes!
And it was wonderful.
That's so exciting. Yeah. Yeah, I watched that tree meditation. That is actually really good. Really nice meditation.
Yeah.
The one you posted?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Sandy did. Yeah,
Wow.
she's actually in the chat right now. That was awesome. And that singing bowl she has is awesome, too.
Yeah, it's great. Well, thank you for sharing. That was really cool.
Yeah, I've got another one
do it again.
I've got another one from, like, we did it at 11/11 right before New Year, the New Year, the countdown or whatever, and so I've got that one as well. Yeah.
Did you post it yet?
No, I've got it recorded,
that
but
one.
yeah, I just haven't had the time yet because I did the other one, and I've got the main recap video, and then I'm going to do that one after that, but I've got to put some graphics with it and stuff. You guys might want to double check the show ID number that you're putting in. Sometimes people mistype it somehow, but it's definitely right because Diane and Angie just got in with it.
Well, I made it on, so if I can make it on, everybody can. Should.
You went through the website, didn't you? Or did you call the number?
I just clicked on the link below.
Yeah.
And it took me there, so I just clicked and...
Yeah. That's cool, because it brought up your name instead of a phone number. That's why I can tell that you came through the internet, because that's why I was like, oh, Jose. So.
Yeah, that was me. Oh, someone else came on. There you go.
Ah. Oh, yeah, you can actually see the participants, huh?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can't see that if you're on the phone. A little peek behind the curtain. Ooh, you made them leave. They saw me. I'm leaving.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I just wanted to say hi, and hi to everybody in the chat.
How was your trip down to Guatemala? Did you like it?
Oh, yeah. It was very interesting. Very interesting. It was so different than anything I've been part of before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I learned a lot of things about human beings and essential stuff. And, you know, like I was hoping for something highly spiritual. And in a way, I guess it was. But you know, I didn't want to have expectations, so I went with it, you know. But I met beautiful people, like, it was really nice.
Yeah.
But I prefer the food in Mexico.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Pretty good, huh?
But food in Mexico is better than Guatemala. It's, but, you know, like, it was different. A lot of poverty, but, like, proud people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where we were, they live around a lake, and they don't wait for the government to come and take care of their lake. They go down physically to the lake, and they pull the weeds that makes the lake, you know, like, the water has been going down a lot for a lot of years now, and they think that removing those weeds might help to prevent the water to keep going down. So they go and they pull the weeds out of the lake themselves.
Mm.
So, you know, we don't witness a lot of stuff. It's really interesting.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hearing myself echo back through a little bit. But I guess that's okay.
Oh.
I stopped. Thank you, Dustin.
The
Thank you,
other-
Ronnie.
Maybe I
What's the
gotta-
culture difference like? Is that pretty trippy?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, like, there's the Christians and the Catholics. So far, it sounds really familiar.
Some things never
but,
change. Huh?
Yeah. But everything's tenfolds, you know? Like, the Christians are more intensely Christians, and the Catholics are more intensely Catholic. Like, we were part of Posada, they called, the 9 days before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph and Mary statues go from one house to another. There's someone hosting a posada. Posada means refuge.
Mm-hmm.
And they go, you know, like Joseph and Mary, when they went from door to door to try to find a place
Mm-hmm.
when Mary was about to have the baby. So they knock on the door and they sing outside, and there's people inside answering them. So they're asking for refuge.
Yeah.
And there's that, you know, that singing going on for like maybe 20 minutes. And then they're finally invited in. And there was almost 200 people in the little courtyard. And then they sit down and they do the rosary for over an hour. And then they share food and coffee, sweet coffee. And then everybody leaves. And then the next day, somebody comes and gets Joseph and Mary and take them to the Posada. And it goes on for 9 days. So that was like, wow.
So it was a good thing, or you were like, whoa, that's kind of long.
Well, yeah, and it was pouring that night, which is a rare occurrence, you know, like it rarely happens, but it was pouring that night. And no, it's the dedication and, you know, like, and on the other side, not far from where we were, there was a Christian church. Well, you know how they love to sing together and it's amazing. And well, they did that every night, almost every night they got together and sang and worshiped for like 2-3 hours every night.
Wow. Are you starting to feel different about Christmas?
No.
Halloween's still your favorite, huh?
Yes, sir. Let's see. They say get together with your family for Christmas. Well, they were lining up to share their viruses with me. I had to say no to a few, but I picked up one, you know. So I've been 6, and you know, like it's just like anyway. But it was nice to see the grandkids. Oh, I'm gonna be a grandma again.
Oh yeah? So
yeah.
Is this your second or third?
Oh, that's my 5th done.
Oh, 5th, okay.
And if we count Dan's grandkids, that'll be number 12.
Wow.
So, yeah. You have some catching up to do.
Yeah, I do. But I'm not trying. That's for sure. The one I got's a handful.
Well, it's always so nice to talk to you, Shane, and I'd love to have you on my show again so you can tell me about Austin, because then when you come on my show, I can ask questions, you know, and then you answer the questions, and then I can find out stuff, because we can talk about you more when you come on my show.
Yeah, but I don't refuse any questions you ask me here either.
Oh, I know. But yeah, I just want to. I just came on and I called right away, so I missed what you said about Austin. So I'll go and watch the stream, and then I'll ask you questions if you didn't answer them already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we did answer quite a bit, and we showed some pictures on
because
there,
people in the chat might have heard what you said already, but I don't want to have you repeat what you said already. So I'm going to watch the stream.
Yeah, I had on the 2 ladies who hosted it down there in Austin, Angie and Diane. We had it at 2 different venues over the 4 days or whatever, and so yeah, it was. I thought might as well have them on since they kind of hosted it, and neither one of them really wanted to be on camera when I was there too much. I mean, they're okay with me showing them in the pictures and stuff, but you know, I get it. I'm totally shy. Like, you know, my wife's the same way and stuff. So yeah, it's I totally get it. And then Travis was the same way. So I would prefer not to.
Well, when I came on, you were.
Say it
Excuse
again?
me, I cut you.
No, it was.
I said,
there's a delay, so it seemed like you cut me off, but I was already talking for like 2 seconds or something. So it's fine though. I'm just letting the listeners know.
When I came on, I heard you talk about healing and you feeling the energy. Someone did a healing on you?
Yeah,
Like
Atsuko, she was the one in the Sedona video that I got to interview afterwards, and she does Reiki healing. And we didn't get to do anything in Sedona really, so when we got together in Austin, and then she gave Sherry Overprotected a Reiki session. And then I was kind of hinting around to Megan about it, and she like went and asked her for me, and I was like, oh, I didn't mean for you to go ask her. And she's like, no, I'll do it. Okay, all right, awesome. I've always wanted it, so it was really cool. And then Megan did this light language thing with me, which was really cool. There was just
nice.
Yeah, there was just a lot of, people just gifting stuff, artwork and sessions, and I'm so glad we left it really open and not scheduled a bunch of stuff, because doing the meditations with Sandy was like perfect, It was these little times we could come together. I mean, we didn't even really sit and eat at a single time. Everybody just kind of showed up and ate, and so everything was really unstructured, but it was beautiful that way, because people didn't have to feel like they missed dinner or something if they showed up a little late. It's like, no, just grab whatever you want to eat and whatever you want to drink. And I was like, I didn't realize there was like waters in the back of Diane's truck until like the next day. I was like wanting water, because I typically just drink water, but I didn't realize that I didn't get them out of the truck, or no one got them out of the truck. So if you were there and you wanted waters and all there was other stuff, I apologize. It was an accident. I was with you on that one.
Well, water was a struggle in Guatemala as well, so.
Yeah, you got to be careful down there, don't you?
You have to be careful down there, and also hot water is not like you can't take hot water for granted. There's no hot water to do the dishes. It's cold water. And drinking water can be hard to come around, like it's in some occasions. So we had to go and buy water a few times, and but it was a great experience. Lots of beautiful kids and beautiful people. I got involved in painting some nawals, which are the Mayan signs. So I want to put a slideshow together, but I've been trying, but it seems to be complicated. So
it's not that bad. Look up the YouTube video on it. There's YouTube videos for everything these days, and the pictures I've seen that you showed from your trip are beautiful. You look so happy down there. You just
I know.
You were just glowing in those
I know.
pictures.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Now,
Still trying to figure out.
Was Dan busy working the whole time, or did he get to enjoy himself?
Well, it was really easy. I have a feeling I was there to help him also make contacts with the right people.
Oh, nice.
And people were kind of... people were really, really, really attracted to me, but that's been like most of my life, but it was really intense over there. And I don't know, I think Dan noticed some stuff, but like we didn't really have time to talk about it. And like I was really busy all the time, really involved with the kids and with the people there. And I don't know, it was different. I'm still processing it, like we got back and got really busy right away, so I haven't had time to really, but I've been dreaming. Oh, and also what I've noticed is while I was there, time started to slow down so much. It's incredible. Days are so long. And I've talked to a few people who told me the same thing. But the time has slowed down for me and Dan incredibly. And the dreams, I've been having dreams, and I've been seeing like geometric forms, like floating, and last few days have been really intense.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
Any kind of dreams you want to share?
Any what?
Dreams you want to share?
I wish. I can't remember. I just get flashes.
Right.
But those, like, I know that I'm busy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people, and I have to, like, guide people somewhere, or we have to go somewhere, or there's moving around, like there's but I just get little flashes of them.
Yeah.
Here and there, like, but it's never enough to remember.
Right. I know
So,
exactly what you mean.
I know. So it's frustrating because it's something different, but you just can't see it, remember it. Mm.
But they're ramping up for you. Huh?
Yeah, it's been the time slowing down and the dreams ramping up.
Yeah, I think Go-Kart Bob had been talking about the time, and I had noticed it sped up, like when we first were talking about it on the channel or whatever, but then I hadn't really paid attention to it. But now I've noticed, like, if I keep an eye on it, it seems like it's fluctuating. Like sometimes it'll be super fast, sometimes it seems like it's all the way back to normal, how it used to be, and then sometimes it seems like it's speeding up again. So it seems to be fluctuating, and time's supposed to be a constant. So everything's tied to time, so nothing changes that you can see other than you noticing that it's speeding up or slowing down, Really no way to tell.
But I mean, slowing down a lot.
Right.
Like you look at the clock and it's 9:02, and what feels like 15 minutes later you look and it's 9:06, like it's like it really slowed down a lot.
Yeah.
Like we didn't know what to do with ourselves. Like it's only 6 o'clock, like you're hungry for dinner at 3 in the afternoon, but it's only 3.
Yeah.
It was really strange.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll keep an eye on the time thing. And yeah, send me an email, let me know when you want to chit-chat. I'll be glad to come on.
Sure, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to let someone else pop in, so I'm going to give a chance to the other person in. And good night, everyone in the chat. And it was so nice to talk to you, Shane.
Yeah, it was wonderful talking to you, Jose. Lots of love to you.
Thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
I love you guys. Love you all.
All right, love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Going back to the phone lines, 337 area code. Who am I talking to?
Hey, it's Sherry.
Hey, what's up, Sherry? Overprotected.
Hey. No, I just wanted to call in and thank Angie so much for her hospitality and making everybody so comfortable and doing so much. It was beautiful. And, it was really, undescribable. I'm still absorbing everything. It's just overwhelming. It was so much that went on, energetically between all of us. It was really beautiful.
I was actually so shocked. I probably would have normally cried because everything was so perfect and beautiful, but it was so beautifully shocking that I was just like, I don't know, it felt surreal, and it kind of, I'm glad, because I don't, last thing I want to do is start bawling like a baby because it's so beautiful or whatever, but everything was just so freaking perfect. I could tell she spent so much time and so much consideration on everything, so many little details that, God. And then to know that was her first event doing anything like that, it was just amazing that everything was so far and beyond what anyone would have ever expected, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It was just so beautiful. I have to say, I really loved the little table runner she had. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, just to see the logo on there like that and stuff. I'm like, wow. So cool.
I know, it's just so cool. But yeah, I felt like I didn't get to spend as much time with Angie as I wanted to, but I felt such a connection with her when I met her, to where I'm like, you know, I'm kind of letting her just get everything, you know, get regrouped, I guess, from after that. And I mean, I'm going back and see her. I just love her so much. I felt so connected to her. It was indescribable.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of those people that is just like a magnet and stuff. So, yeah, I felt the same way. I wanted to, she was just so busy the whole time. And, you know, I'm like, you should relax and enjoy it. And so I got to keep things going. And this is how I am. I'm like, all right, okay. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, and she's so good at organizing things and stuff. And just such a beautiful home and a beautiful soul. It was just so nice, and connecting with all the people, the meditation, the bonfire. And I have to give a shout out to Otsko and Megan with no H and only one A. I'm going to add that. Only one A, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
amazingly
really fun.
Gifted people. I'm sorry. Some amazingly gifted people.
I really enjoyed it myself. It was kind of like, you know, sad it was over, but then again, like I heard that they were still getting together and people were still meeting and talking, and it's like, all right, the connection's been made, you know?
Yeah.
That's like the main thing.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So we had people from California and New York and Louisiana and Oklahoma and just from coast to coast, you know what I mean? There was people that came, so it was really neat.
Yeah, I mean, it was better than I expected it to be. I don't know how to explain it. And I was nervous going in, like I had a little bit of social anxiety. And so, you know, and it was, when I went, it was just all went away, because like I had went and hiked the mountain, so I came in there like all a mess. And I mean, everybody made me comfortable, and Angie made me a bubble bath, and it was awesome. And it was like, I felt like a princess, you know. She was so sweet.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, there was really nothing I could have expected. It was like, you know, you kind of have these expectations going in with it, and like things were way different than what I expected them to be like, but way better. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so nice connecting with everybody. And Diane at the lake, you know, she's so, I wanted to talk to her more too, and I didn't get to, but I know I will one day, and I'm sure that she would talk to me on the phone or something when everything's a little bit slower, you know.
Yeah.
But she was just, I don't know, so welcoming, and it's just so weird when you hug those people, every one of them. It just seemed like you already knew them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really wild the way all that works, you know.
No. And it's just weird because it just seems like it happened to me when I went to the Monroe Institute also. It was the same thing that happened to me. It was like I felt like I knew everybody, knew them before. Like I felt like I knew them before, and a lot of them looked like people that I knew from my past.
Yeah.
Either older versions or younger versions of them. And it was just so weird, because I could sit there and point at someone and say, that one looks like my sister-in-law, and that one looks like a friend I went to high school with. And it was just so weird. And that same thing happened to me at the Monroe Institute. Exactly.
And that's weird. That's been happening to me since I started the channel, where, you know, I do it all the time, where I meet people, like, you know, it happened with Debbie Solaris, and the guest I'm going to have on next week, Gosha from Cosmic Agency, or Agencia Cosmica. Yeah, I'm excited about having her on.
Yeah, it's Cosmic Agency, and I hope anyone listening, if I hope they check out that channel, because there's a lot of valuable information on there that like really resonates with me. It's like you hear it and you feel like you already know it.
Yeah.
Or you know it and then you hear it and it gives you confirmation. And even the stuff that you hear that's new will sound so familiar.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest experience. And even the music that's on these videos gives you a feeling that's like home. It's so interesting.
They want to do a fundraiser to get me an RV. You're going to have your Bigfoot RV or something with one of your friends, right?
Oh yeah, we're going Bigfoot. We're going Cajun girl redneck Bigfoot hunting. We're thinking about going by over where Go-Kart Bob is. He said he has Bigfoot there, but it's not Bigfoot season right now.
All right. So, are you guys gonna drive that bad boy to East City in August?
Well, we're gonna watch some YouTube videos on how to drive RV, and we're gonna try. Right now, we're trying to work on it, and we're gonna try to do mechanics by ourselves. But we're gonna learn this. We're gonna do it ourselves. We need to do some. We need to work on the what is it called? Yeah. The generator or something. We're gonna get that cleaned out, and we're supposed to have a meeting like I don't know, next Friday or something. I think it's scheduled. Y'all
cool.
watch out. We're gonna be Bigfoot hunting. Maybe we'll be in your area.
Now, what are you calling it? You're calling it Cajun
has-
girl Bigfoot hunting, or what is it again?
Cajun girl redneck Bigfoot hunting.
That's hilarious.
So
Well-
look, I'm gonna tell y'all, you're gonna love Aunt Christine, and I'm telling you, this thing could go viral because she is something. Like she says that the reason nobody's caught Bigfoot is because they try to trap him and that they need to just shoot him.
Oh my God.
And she's so cute. No, she's really sweet. You know.
I heard you try to
She's a
shoot them, they just shift
special
into a different.
person.
I heard they just shift into another dimension if you try to shoot them.
Yes, look, I believe they're interdimensional myself. I'm doing this for Aunt Christine. You know, it's her passion. And it's something that she wanted to like do before she dies. And my friend Jeanette will take her just out of town, and she'll think that she's Bigfoot hunting, and like she has the plaster cast and everything. And like Jeanette said, she did a plaster cast, and it was she said I think it was someone's crop, like you know, like their shoe. But she did it, thought it was a Bigfoot thing, and she was all excited. And then I sent her a picture my nephew had gotten of I think it was Photoshop of a Bigfoot, and she was so happy, and she's like, oh, that's one of the little ones. I know the parents are right behind it. She's so cute. We're doing it for her. But we're going. It's on.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, you get to make her dreams come true. Manufactured dreams, I guess.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Well, if you really see a Bigfoot, take a picture of it before she scares it into a different dimension. I doubt she'll be the first to shoot one, I'm sure. People have tried.
I'm just going to tell you, I say with all the weird things that happen to me, I wouldn't doubt if I end up being a Bigfoot. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't doubt it
You
either.
know, I just have weird things happen to me like that, you know. So I'm going to try to get her to not shoot him. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, if you really
It'll
see
be
one,
fun.
you got to tell her not to shoot it, you know. That's
Yeah,
the problem. That's why they don't come
I'm
around.
gonna work on her with that.
I think that's why they don't come
I'm gonna
around.
work
is,
on-
you know, people try to shoot them.
Well, yeah. Well, I know, you know, it's just you watch all those shows and everybody hears stuff and they see and all this stuff, but, I mean, you don't ever really see anything on there. If there is one, I'm going to try to get evidence for y'all.
Okay. That sounds great.
Oh, yeah. So, when is the E-Study thing?
We're aiming for August. We don't have an exact date, but we're going to try to do it sometime in August because it'll be a month after their biggest 4th of July event that's usually really busy. So that's as far as we've gotten to this point.
That's so neat because, I mean, I don't know if this is correct, so I don't want to, like, you know, say this, but from what I've understood from things that I've watched over the years about it, that there's like a 100% chance that you'll have some kind of UFO experience.
Yeah.
And that they also have like a tree or something that they take your picture, they can take your picture by, and orbs will show up, and it has like pictures of family members in it that have like passed away that you'll recognize in the orbs.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen some pretty cool ones, and people that have a big one right above their head and they don't know until they take a picture and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but James Gilliland, he'll be like, you know, all right, in 2 minutes there's going to be one that comes over from the west and stuff, and here it comes. It's like they tell him telepathically that they're going to do it, and so yeah, he's in cahoots with them or whatever. So yeah, I think I haven't heard anybody go there and say they didn't see anything.
Right. Yeah. That's what's so neat about it, you know. So
yeah, I'm excited.
I'm gonna see that.
So you're gonna try to make it out, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to bring Darby and come. That's the plan anyway.
Okay.
She was so upset that she didn't get to come to this one, you know.
Yeah.
But she really she cried when she got her little present from Megan.
Oh.
You know, the little pocket thing with the crystals in it.
Yeah.
And all that, and she's like, I need to call Shane and apologize for not going. And I said, no. I said, it's, you know, she wouldn't have wanted to go hike that mountain, I promise you. And like, I just, you know, maybe it wasn't the right time for her, you know.
Yeah.
So when she goes, it'll be the right time. That's what I think.
Definitely. Oh, thank you, Sandy. So yeah, I think, you know, as far as, she shouldn't feel bad, you know. It's totally fine.
Well,
she
loves all y'all too. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing her and singing and doing all that stuff, but you know, it was like jam-packed as far as like our time. It seemed like we were always busy having fun, and so it wasn't like we had a big empty gap where it was like, hey, where's Darby or whatever. But she would have had fun if she was there.
Right, yeah, and I think it'll all work out one time when she's supposed to go. She'll be there, just like everyone else. When it's meant to be, it'll be, and it'll work out. Everybody's where they are for a reason.
Yeah, I totally believe that. So.
Yeah, I need to give just one more shout out to like Angie, Diane, and Otsko, and Megan, and Sandy, and it's everybody that was there. That, you know, I don't know, that like did so much for me, where I just felt, you know, humbled by it. You know, they're just so amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely the best New Year's anything I've ever been to, for me anyway. And I feel like this is going to be the best year of my life coming up here that we're starting. I feel like 2018 was, and I feel like 2019 is even going to be better. So
yeah.
So let's manifest, people.
Yeah. I was upset though because I meant to stop and okay, when it comes to fireworks, let me just tell you, my favorite firework is called the artillery shell. I don't know if y'all know what that is. But
maybe.
It's like, it's these little balls and you like shoot it off. And it looks like the fireworks that they have, like, you know, like whenever you go to a downtown thing or something, it's like, they're beautiful. And they're really not that expensive. You know, you can get, I don't know, like 10 of them for like $25 or $30, whatever, but they're awesome. And I was going to get some to bring them, and I just forgot. It was like I had so much going on, I forget stuff, you know, like important stuff. Whenever I go on these little trips, I forget, like, the big things. It's just terrible. I need to make a list.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make a list.
I realized, like, after it was all over with and I was back home, I was like, wait a minute, what about the helium balloons we were supposed to get?
Oh, my God. That's so funny because, like, me and Angie were talking about it, and I was going to bring these helium balloons. And I was, like, thinking, okay, well, when I take them home to my grandsons and stuff, they, like, pop in the car because I'm, like, smoking a cigarette or whatever. And I was like, how am I going to get that all the way to Austin? And she's like, well, you can just, like, do it here. And then I was like, oh, yeah, I can do that. And then I guess I just forgot with everything going on.
Can you imagine driving all those hours from Louisiana with balloons in the car?
I can barely make it, like, 30 minutes with them, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I was just like, I was trying to figure out how I was going to pull that off. So
I was looking forward to doing the show intro with helium in my voice. I
know, right? That's what I told. That was the very first email I sent to Angie. I said, I'll bring some helium balloons, and then we can all breathe it in and talk money, and it'll be fun. But, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
One time I'll bring them. I'll bring them to ECETI, and everybody will wonder why. I'm just kidding.
That's funny.
Okay.
Send them up to the aliens. I wonder what they'll sound like with helium, since they already kind of sound like that. I'm just teasing.
That's like, what's that? Do you see that video with the helium balloon and the camera? And it went up and then something intercepted it, and they think it was like, I don't know what it was. Y'all got to see that video.
Send it to me.
Okay.
I know you feel like you send me enough stuff, but one more won't hurt anything.
I know, I do. I always bug you. I feel so bad. I do. I feel horrible.
But a lot of stuff I haven't seen, and you've introduced me to it, and I thank you for that, because most of the connections I make, I trust you guys, you know what I mean? I know you're connected. I know we're of like mind. That's how, like, somebody, gosh, I can't remember her name, told me about Gosha and this whole Cosmic Agency channel with all this extraterrestrial information that's been coming through email, by the way. It's not through channeling, it's through email. And I know the first thing you're going to think is anybody could be sending the email. But when you listen to the information, then you realize how undistorted it is, you know, and it's just mind-blowing. And for me, for those who've been listening to my channel for a while, when you listen to this and you'll hear things that I've said about like NPCs, what I think and stuff for a while now that I just sort of intuited, that gets confirmed by this information, and it's like, wow, the feelings I had were right on about this different stuff, you know, that I just felt like it was sort of just how I felt about it. But man, I got chills so many times checking out these Cosmic Agency videos. I probably should try to put the link in the chat. Talking so much about it, people are like, where is it? It's I'll paste it in there in just a second. I'll find it. But yeah, haven't you enjoyed it too? Oh.
Yes, and I feel like, I know it sounds crazy, but the girl that she connects to, what's her name, Swaru or something?
Swaru, yeah.
Yeah. It feels like when I'm listening to it anyway, I feel like can connect to her. Like I can, it feels like she's right there talking to you or something. There's really something unique and special about these videos.
Well, okay, I found the playlist. I'm going to paste the playlist instead of just one video.
Yeah, that'll be good. Then everybody
because she keeps adding videos she keeps adding videos that she adds them to this playlist. So anybody that's interested in this, she's going to be on next week on Wednesday, I believe. We're going to connect this weekend and try out the sound and everything. She doesn't do live shows, and she's another one of those people that I'm like, man, I felt so connected to you. And she goes, I don't even do live streams, but I feel safe and I feel like I can come on. I'm like, this is the right group for your information for sure. I mean, even if people don't resonate with it, they're at least open-minded enough to consider it and stuff for the most part, you know. Of course, we always have a stray troll and stuff that could creep in, but for the most part, people are at least open-minded enough to consider the stuff. And, you know, the people I've sent it to, like you, and, you know, I sent it to, like, Pam and Daryl and a few other people, and, you know, everybody's really loves the information. Just like the viewer that sent it to me, you know, she's like, people have got to hear about this information. I'm like, oh, man, you're so right. So there's the playlist, you guys. You can check it out. Like I said, she's going to be on Wednesday, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then we've got our show we're going to be starting real soon. And you've got some really cool stuff that just happened from this whole thing. We won't, you know, just a little teaser or whatever.
Yeah, we won't even start.
It's mind-blowing, though. you know, and it ties so many things together. And we're going to open our first show with that experience you had. That was really, really wild. So yeah, I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I just hope I can get that computer thing going, you know.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'll try.
You'll be fine.
Try.
I'll get on Hangouts with you and walk you through it. If we can figure out how to put Hangouts on there.
Yeah, I know it helps. I mean, Michelle, I know you helped Michelle and Jose, right? With stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, Jose was pretty keen on it. She did it with actually I think she ended up using Michelle's opinions because she knew how to use Hangouts. I didn't even know how to use Hangouts. And then me and Michelle's opinions got on with Dan from Scarrett Performance, and then we were figuring out the phone thing. And I'm not even using that talk service anymore. I'm using the one I'm using now, which is TalkShoe that Dan Holfeld told me about from you know,
oh yeah,
K2D4.
I love Dan, man. You gotta love Dan, huh?
Yeah, Dan the man. Yeah, so we all help each other behind the scenes. There's a collective of YouTube content creators, but yeah, we try to help each other out for the most part. And so yeah, since you're already a YouTuber putting out videos all the time, this is really going to up your game. And you know, Michelle.
Yeah, it's my backward book.
Yeah, your backwards books. No more of that. Yeah, so we'll get you lined up. And Michelle, of course, Michelle Wolf, she really wanted to get in there and do it with OBS and learn how to do all the fancy stuff. And so she chose to take the difficult route, but she's been doing well with it. So what we're doing isn't a big deal, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun and easy. And what are we probably a few Mondays away from doing that?
Yeah, I think I'm mostly just scared because it's a MacBook, and it's different. I'm used to a regular one, you know, and this it's just, you know, they're really weird to me. But I found a YouTube guy that I'm gonna watch him, and I'm gonna figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
That'll help me out. So, but I am excited about it. I know I have a lot of good ideas of people to come on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like Go For It Randy and stuff like that. I have a lot of connections with
He's
some
got
people
some
that would
cool
probably be really
stuff.
interested.
Yeah, that guy has
really
some really cool stuff. I can't believe his channel isn't bigger than it is.
See, what I feel like something's blocking him. I know it sounds crazy, but intuitively I feel like that.
It doesn't sound crazy at all. I've seen my numbers toyed with a lot, and I'm like, oh well, I don't really care. The people are still getting it. And if it keeps the trolls down, I often think that I'm like, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? You know, people automatically think suppression is a bad thing, but if it's keeping me out of attention of people that can, you know, maybe I'm just not big enough to mess with at this point, and the higher ups are helping keep it that way. You know, so I don't always see it as all negative. I think it could be positive. I'm always on the fence about it. You know, is it positive? Is it negative? It's really kind of our choice most of the time to see it that way, you know, one way or the other.
Well, and I think I'm starting to learn that, you know, it's kind of our own responsibility to make it be what it is that we want, because the more that I've experienced, the more I learn that whatever it is that I focus on, that's what I end up experiencing. So it all goes back to that Abraham Hicks from long, long ago.
So much we can talk about. That's why I got to get you on, because I know so many stories. And, you know, we had the 2 different shows we did covering the Michael Jackson stuff, but we only really scratched the surface of the Michael Jackson stuff. I know it seemed like a lot in that video, but it was really, you know, we crammed it all in, a bunch of stuff into a short amount of time. We could have easily gone 3 hours on that, you know, with all the little bitty details that all add up into this overall narrative that's been happening this whole time. We just kind of focused on the big main things that, you know, were pretty impressive, but stuff happens all the time. Like just the other day when you were going to go out with your mom, and you were like, I'm going out with my mom to this restaurant, and most of the time when I go in there, a Michael Jackson song will play right away, and then, I don't know, an hour or 2 later, you email me this video of walking in there and that Michael Jackson started playing. I mean, you called it before it even happened, you know? That stuff's...
Yeah.
This crowd gets it, though, you know what I mean, on this channel? the subscribers, the people that tune in all the time, they enjoy hearing that stuff. They see it happen in their own lives. So none of us really are suspect. And you sent me the video, even after you told me it was going to happen, and I can hear you freaking out in the restaurant. It never gets old, does it?
No, it doesn't. And it's so funny because after I have something like that happen, I'm like high for like 3 days because there's so many, and my daughter has them happen all the time too. You know, like she just was telling me one the other night, and she was so happy. You know, it just. But what's weird was I just want to say this, or I want to thank you for doing that Michael Jackson video, because when I watched it back, it made me realize how much. I mean, it made it so real, and I was like, wow, this is really a lot. And I bet you we only covered like maybe 8 or 10 things when there's over 1,000 at least, and then there's so many that we don't even write down because you get busy in your life and stuff, and it's just too much to deny, you know.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it, and I'm saying that, you know, on the Ethernet so that Michael, everybody hears it, and then it just happens more. The more you're thankful for it, the more it happens.
Yeah, definitely. Wait, who's going to bed? Good night, whoever's going to bed. I was trying to figure it out. Everybody's saying good night, and I still haven't located the person that's actually going to sleep. So, sweet dreams, whoever you are.
Well, I probably need to let you go. It's probably time for you to wrap things up.
I could wrap it up at 2 hours if nobody's going to call in. Or we could make this the first show.
Call in.
I'm just playing.
Make someone call in. Make someone call in.
Well, thank you so much.
Wasn't Susan calling in? Okay.
I thought she was. Oh, I noticed she had been calling my phone. I was like, no, not my phone. I can't answer that on that. Oh. Nobody would hear her.
Oops.
Yeah. So
that sounds like something I'd do. Okay. Well, thank you just for everything, and thank you for just being you and having that. You know, I mean, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have had that beautiful meetup, and I wouldn't have met Megan and Otsko and Diane and Sandy, and I love me some Angie S.
Yeah.
So thank you.
No problem. My pleasure.
And everyone in the chat, I love everyone. I hope I never forget to say hello to any of you because I love all of you so, so much. You have no idea, and y'all make life worth living. Okay. Good night, Shane.
All right. Good night. Love you, Sherry.
I love you.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
All right. Did Susan, did you get my message that you should call the main line on the screen? You're actually calling my cell phone. I looked over and I saw I had missed some calls. I got my ringer off because I'm live, but let's see. Yeah. So yeah, Angie, Shira, Sandy, you should call in. You're still here. Love to hear because you guys got here before and stayed till after. Wonder how all that happened. Or let's see, 303. If you want to talk, raise your hand, press star 2. I just saw you hop in and jump the gun on it. There we go, 303, you're live. This is Shane. Who am I talking to?
Vicky.
Who is it?
Vicky.
Vicky, how are you?
Good.
Are you settling into, let's see. Wait, Ronnie or Vicky?
Vicky.
Okay, sorry. I was thinking Veronica and Vicky. I don't know. I was confused for a second there. 303, Vicky. Where are you calling from? Where is 303?
Colorado.
Colorado.
We've talked before.
Okay. You sound familiar. Yeah. Okay, let me put your name up there. So, are you thinking about the East City thing? Do you think you can make it out there?
No. I have a cat, and I would never leave
the
state.
I got that. Yeah, Megan brought her dog. It was cool though. It was right at home with us.
It would be fun. I would like to be around, people waking up and, sharing stories. It would be cool.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because everybody was like, not everybody, but a lot of people, they didn't want to leave their comfort zone to do it, but once they did, they were happy happy that they did. And I'm like that too. I'm like, I know I'm on here all the time, but really I'm a kind of keep to myself kind of person. So it's a little bit out of my comfort zone to go meet with a bunch of people. But I loved it. It was really cool. So.
It would be cool to be able to do that, find the same people, in your own state too, and hang out.
Mm-hmm.
And even do the Friday night thing all together,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. But, so I experienced Mandela effects and lots of interesting experiences. I'm the one who lost her husband.
Okay. Sorry to hear that. I was trying to
before.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the Mandela effect though was. With was it a personal Mandela effect or?
Oh yeah, I've experienced an interesting Mandela effect after my husband died. I went to hang out at the lake, and it was morning, and experienced like a little rock ceremony with some rocks I'd picked up along the way, and I put them in the hollow of a tree.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in severe mourning, and I kept going to that same lake and riding my bike, and I just be in mourning. And I went up to the top of the hill and sat on a bench and looked over my shoulder, and I saw a rock on a post.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, did you put that there? And of course I was, saying to myself, no, you're just imagining it. You want it so bad, and cried and got back up on my bike and rode the road, and it felt like he was pulling on my bike, slowing me down on purpose.
Right.
And, I wanted to believe it, but I wasn't believing it.
Right.
And then the next time I went up there, I think it was the next day, there were rocks on all the posts, big, huge rocks.
Oh my God, that's wild.
Yeah, and I took pictures of them. And then I took my mom up there because I was living with her at the time because I was getting ready to sell my home. And she walked up there with me, and we saw all these rocks. And some of them were doubled, and the posts were very tall.
Mm-hmm.
They were, like, 6 feet tall posts. And I wondered, how did they get the rocks up there? Whoever it was, I imagine it was, some young kids, goofing off, putting them up there. But then I also, in the back of my mind, thought, this is the way my husband's reaching me.
Yeah.
And the next time I went up there, the posts were all shorter. I just jumped timelines.
Oh, wow. Were the rocks were gone or no?
The rocks got smaller. They weren't the same rocks. Oh, and there was one great big huge rock that was on a post, or not a sign that's, people, put at parks saying, they're the ones that are cleaning up the park.
Right.
And there was this big, huge boulder there, and I thought, well, that's probably not a good idea. Someone could get hurt. And the next time I went up, it was changed to a smaller rock.
Oh, wow.
So I know my husband is reaching me. I don't know how it works or what we're experiencing, but it must be we are able to experience this somehow.
Yeah.
And I think because I was in such deep mourning and needed to know he was able to contact me, it was happening. And I don't know if I was creating it or if he was creating it or some alien race is doing it. I didn't know. But, I got pictures of it all. And it was pretty cool. And I did before and after pictures because I would, we always took our camera on our bike rides. He even took a camera with him the day he died. And he took pictures.
So when you got a picture, did you get pictures of the rocks and poles being different sizes? Or did that change in the picture?
No, I haven't looked at my pictures lately. But they were even doubled, and I know it was him because we had this half-acre yard, and we had a house built, and when they dug up the foundation to build the house, they put all these rocks strewn out throughout the yard. It was a rock washed out glacier bed type rocks, all different sizes of rocks, and they were the bane of my existence for many years. Because he was a paraplegic, and we bought this home, and this yard had to be cleaned up so I could do something with it. And all these rocks, I mean, we have tall weeds, and but when I sold my home, the rocks that were the bane of my existence were now a connection to him.
Right.
And it was interesting that those rocks were put on poles, on posts at the lake, all over the lake. I mean, totally around the lake. On so many posts, it was just unreal, and it happened overnight.
That's so
So we're living in an experience that is mind-blowing and third eye opening, and just wild.
It is wild. You should send me those pictures too. That sounds awesome. Now, were they just were they just like balanced on the top of the poles, or?
Yeah, they were like, if you imagine posts, round posts that are, with, it wasn't like, there was fencing around the lake, and even the fence went shorter. And it freaked me out to begin with because I was going through the dark night of the soul at the same time all this was happening. And so, I didn't know what I was experiencing because this was happening back in 2011 is when he died. And so I experienced the 11/11 gateway in a very profound way. And then 12/12/12 I experienced in a very profound way, the dark night of the soul way. And so it was, and nobody else was talking about this stuff except for I found Lisa M. Harrison and Danny Arnold McKenna in their show. Have you ever watched it?
I have seen Lisa Harrison, but not the other guy.
That was Danny.
Danny.
They started out together with Removing the Shackles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've only found her since I realized the Mandela effect was happening the year before last now, but in 2017 I think is when I first came across Lisa Harrison. Yeah, so she's pretty new to me. I didn't see the beginnings with now what's his name again? Danny?
Danny. She's a woman. It was two women. They'd sit around and they'd do the show together, and they played off of each other very well. It was fun watching them.
Oh, nice.
But one is more politically minded, and the other one is more spiritual awareness, not religious, but spiritual.
Right.
And then, of course, started experiencing Lilu. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that was an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I've often thought it would be cool to see you on a show with Lisa.
Yeah, I have heard about the Lilu thing. I think that's pretty interesting.
Well, at first it was because I was watching it from the beginning, and I was kind of leery about this connection to whoever Lilu is. But I also kind of saw it as I've just been experiencing some pretty wild things. I go to the library and I'm seeing lots of new faces. I don't know what's going on there, but Lisa's talking about people coming in from wherever, and I'm seeing them come in, or at least I think they are. I mean, how many people can work at the library? And there's always someone new there.
Yeah. Well,
okay, well, maybe this is how they're coming in.
I had watched a video where this guy had gone to like a park, and it used to have like 2 soccer goals, and then he went back again and had like 4, and then he went over to them and he was like showing them up close, and he's like, look, they didn't just put these in, they like got rust on the bottom of them. These things just appeared here. So there's people that pay attention to that stuff, and they notice it, you know, where, you know, I got to admit, I don't, you know, I'm surprised I ever even saw the Mandela effect was happening. I'm just not very, I don't pay attention to stuff very well, but I can see it's happening. So I think anybody that would consider it, you know, long enough will see it's happening.
I think why I saw it and why I do see it is because I'm always looking for my husband.
Right.
Because I know that there can be walk-ins. I know that they can jump in and jump out, and, you know.
Yeah.
But I just know that something is very profound happening here. And so I've become very aware and watching. And I think we might jump timelines based on our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And how that might happen is whatever we're focusing on and believing
mm-hmm.
at the moment, and we can go in and out of believing something just by, you know, a dark thought comes into your head, and you attach to it, and you start believing it. And depending if you believe in it, then maybe you jump into that timeline where for that moment it's true.
Yeah. That
And
whole
so,
creating your own reality thing. Yeah.
And so then you jump out of that reality because, oh shit, I shouldn't have thought that.
Right.
So you quickly change your mindset. Maybe what used to happen is it would take a while for these things to happen. You would put it out there, and then it would happen, you know, a month later, but you wouldn't make the connection that you actually put it out there and then it happened.
Right.
Because of the time delay. But now it can happen instantaneously.
Right. So it's not so long in the future that you forget what you manifested. You actually get to see the results of it quicker. And another thing that ties together with all this, because, you know, we were talking about this lunar eclipse coming up and how you can flip your switch and become enlightened or whatever. Well, one of the things that what you were just saying is like you hit your dark night of the soul. I know, like when I talked to Overprotected Sherry and Michelle's Opinions, who's also in here, everyone, and myself included, we all had this sort of dark night of the soul before we flipped and began to awaken to the bigger picture of what's going on. So it really makes me wonder if that's like a catalyst for awakening, sort of going through that dark night of the soul, like all of us and so many others have experienced.
Yeah, I think you're right.
'Cause that's when you started noticing stuff too, so that keeps coming back up.
I also experienced a brain injury. I got in an auto accident, and I think it opened my third eye.
Was that before or after the dark night of soul, or right at that time?
It was I was going through some emotional things, you know, trying a new job and wasn't really happy with it. And an old friend came back into my life, and, you know, I was excited about it at first, and then I remembered, well, she's not good for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that accident happened, and I think maybe it was a way out of that. You know, I became a real estate broker, and I wasn't comfortable with the contracts.
Yeah.
And it didn't. Something went against my soul. It didn't feel right, but I felt like I put all this money out and that I should do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just the accident seemed to happen so that certain things would transpire, and I think it had to happen, but it was a traumatic thing. You know, I felt I was being chased off the highway by this lady, and then she rear-ended me. And I lost consciousness for just seconds, and I found myself behind the steering wheel, and, you know, I was now in the twilight zone. It was like, I've often wondered if we're all dead here.
Yeah.
in a matter of speaking. How, if we all, somehow died in some experience and then we've ended up in this place.
Yeah, I've thought the same thing at times, yeah.
And we've got a fake sun lighting up the tunnel.
Yeah.
And there's orbs in the sky that people are seeing only in cameras, in pictures. And, they're either giant orbs or they're small. And it looks like there's a backup of orbs waiting to transition. And I noticed that with the eclipse back in August 2017. Lots of orbs when I took pictures of the eclipse. And it just looks like, and people are calling them planets and stars, and I'm not sure that they're planets and stars anymore, or if the planets are actually giants, or were giants in those days.
Yeah.
And maybe when they passed and transitioned, they became the size of what we would consider a planet. Because when my husband died, before he died, on his 50th birthday, he had a party. And all these little orbs showed up in his picture, in his photographs of his 50th birthday. And I thought, everyone came to my husband's party.
Yeah.
So it's like they were coming for him.
Yeah.
And I think he knew he was going to die. I think he knew he was going to transition.
Yeah. That
Because
sounds
he was
like
seeing
it.
11:11 all the time before he passed.
Oh, wow.
My experience was, my accident was in June of 2001, or was it 2001? And my grandma died a few months later, and I started experiencing some wild synchronicities, just one right after the other after the other. It's like I was getting messages from the other side and synchronicities here
Yeah.
from my grandma. And I was, pointing these out to my family, and I think that they were annoyed with me when I was sharing them with them. Like, either they felt like, well, why am I not having these, or my sister's crazy.
Right. Yeah, a lot of us get the whole crazy thing. But I think those,
but I felt like
those orbs are like maybe points of consciousness of our deceased loved ones, maybe. So it's like they're there without their body or something, because you see it all the time. They've got videos now where people pass, like in hospice care, and you can see like an orb fly out of them. It's like, holy cow, it's like you saw their consciousness leave,
Oh, I didn't see that.
Pretty wild stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. Now, of course, I
You have to know that.
I guess they can fake it, but who would? That would be kind of morbid, Somebody's dying and you like use the footage to fake an orb thing or something. But you never know. People are pretty crazy out there. But there's more than one that I've seen, so I don't know. You gotta wonder. And then of course there'll be people that says, oh, there just happened to be dust that flew by right at that moment when they passed, and I don't know. I don't think it's all dust though, myself.
You don't think that it's what?
I don't think it's all dust. People say it's just dust. I think there's really orbs. I've seen enough evidence.
Oh, I think
there's something there.
I took pictures because I go on these bike rides at night, and I take pictures of the lake, and I'm going through my pain, and there was orbs there. I feel like it was like, is this an Indian burial ground or something? It just felt like lots of orbs. And before my husband died, he took pictures that morning of the yard, and there was lots of orbs. I don't think it's dust either. I think it's definitely, and I don't think that I don't know that we transition and go to heaven yet. I feel like we're backing up, and maybe, I don't know, something's happening.
Yeah, I think we probably create a lot of our afterlife, at least for a while, you know what I mean, until we get used to it. One of the things I like is channeling Eric. I don't know if you've ever checked out any of the channeling Eric stuff, but he explains what it was like for him to pass over, and it just makes a lot of sense to me, and I've seen it where so much of it seems like, you know, it would be really hard to fake everything that they're doing with the whole channeling Eric thing. It just seems pretty legit. And so I happen to believe in it.
I think people are channeling. I believe they are channeling.
Yeah.
I just don't know that they're channeling, who they're channeling, really.
Right. That's always a possibility.
Because I know that I've experienced something, you know, with my husband.
Yeah.
After he died, he came and visited me, and I experienced him in a profound way. And then I also experienced something very dark. So I feel like there's, you know.
You mean
I'm not
like,
sure
like an
that,
imposter, or just separate from your husband?
I feel like, you know, if we've done everything and if we experienced everything, or we've gone through different experiences here, then there's chances that we have a dark side out there somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, so we also have if we have our higher self, we also have our lower self.
Right.
And so you might tap into, you can, you know, like in the Bible it talks about how Jesus had the Holy Ghost descend upon him in the shape of a human, in the shape of a body and a dove, a human form.
Yeah.
Well, I think that may have been his, I don't know, his twin flame maybe? I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess I've always
there would have to be.
I guess I've always felt like you know, we are the lower or the fallen nature. But yeah, I never even really considered that we have a lower self. But I guess that gets back to the whole angel and demon on your shoulder thing, you know what I mean? Which one are you going to listen to? And
yeah. And I mean, if you entertain the thought that comes in that makes you question something, then suddenly you're in that timeline where my husband used to say to me, you know, I tried to get him to become a born-again Christian, and he'd argue with, or he wouldn't argue me, he'd question me. And then he'd get me questioning myself. And he said he believed the possibilities were endless and anything was possible.
Yeah.
And he kind of laughed at me because I was starting to wake up and experience things, and I didn't know that. I kind of wonder if he didn't know way more than he was letting on. And he'd kind of laugh at me saying, well, what if I'm so way far beyond you that, you know, and I just couldn't entertain that until he died, and then he showed me some stuff. And I thought, okay, I really seriously underestimated you.
yeah.
But when he told me that the possibilities were endless and anything is possible, then I started thinking about how is that? So if all the possibilities are out there and we're in a playground playing with each other and playing all the parts.
Yeah.
And
that makes
then
sense.
there's no way you can really hurt each other because you're playing all the parts.
Yeah, it's like
But
you hurt
you
yourself when you hurt others, technically. We just see it as separation.
But then also in our experience of this realm, it's developing our uniqueness and our personality and our persona. But then if there's all these other alternate us's out there, having all these alternate experiences, have you ever thought, oh, when we get to heaven, it's going to be boring?
Actually, I have thought that before. I thought...
Yeah. Well,
I mean, not for a while, you know, but after a while you'd be like, I think I'm going to go back in and have life be a challenge a little bit, because just, you know, hanging out on the cloud or whatever you imagine a perfect existence being like, it's like a game. It's like if you play a game and it's too easy, you lose interest in it. You're like, I don't want to play it. It's just easy. I'm just doing this over and over again, and there's no challenge to it. But those games that you can almost make it, and then you don't quite make it, and then you have to do it again, and it's, you know, you really feel like you accomplished something when you make it through. We're in it. You know what I mean? That's what this seems like. This is
I
tough.
think that
The tough classroom we're in here.
is. I think that we can create, whatever, the little devil brings in a little thought, and even a jealous thought, and then you entertain that jealous thought, and then you create that.
Yeah. It's like these little
experience.
crossroads. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can jump in and out of these timelines, and you can even be part of it, and it starts to happen, and you see, okay, how much of this have I created?
Right.
Where did I start creating it? And during my dark night of the soul, I was shown something that was very disturbing to me, and it was related to. If you listen to this song by Jim Morrison, Riders on the Storm,
Mm-hmm.
my husband was listening to that when he got paralyzed in a car accident.
Oh, wow.
That was the song playing. And when I've listened to that song since, if you give that man a ride, sweet memories will die. Girl, you gotta love your man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what my dark night of the soul was all about. Somehow, I gave that man a ride. And it messed with every one of my memories.
Wow.
And so I was shown something, and I'm not sure quite what it means, but that's where. And before my husband died, I was really when I had my accident in 2003, I started reading the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I first started out reading The Power of Now and then The Secret of Letting Go because I needed some help.
Right.
Because PTSD can really mess with you after having an accident and having your third eye open. Suddenly you're awakened and you're experiencing people's profound pain and insecurities, and you're almost like eavesdropping in on what they're experiencing because you're so tuned in.
Right.
You can't get away from it. That's how I experienced the PTSD. And I tend to talk a lot because of the brain injury, just so you know. It's a...
That sounds tough, though. That sounds like what a lot of empaths have to deal with. They have to really learn to shut that off because, just because everyone else pulling them down with picking up on everything like that. So, yeah, that's similar.
Yeah,
sounds like.
You start feeling responsible for other people's pain.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if you just know this, then you could, 90% of everyone's problems are misunderstandings.
Yeah.
They're not communicating with each other. And it's interesting. Jesus said, I come not to bring peace, but a sword.
Mm-hmm.
And he said 5 in one house divided, 2 against 3. Mother against daughter, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law, and father against son.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where we're at, and that's why people can't communicate with their loved ones, is because there literally is a sword between them.
Mm.
And you can't communicate.
How long ago did your husband
what I
pass away?
He passed away in May of 2011.
Okay,
and he was
so
seeing 1111 before that.
Oh,
He was
wow.
seeing it all the time. I mean, like several times a day. And it was after I was seeing synchronicities, tons of them, but they were not all the same. But his were always 1111 in every way. His dad would call at 1111. He'd roll on his bike and his odometer, 1,100 miles, 1,111 miles.
Right.
It was when he pulled into the driveway. It was just that constant 1111, and I thought, he's not even Christian, and he's experiencing that.
Yeah.
And then I looked up, then I got my first one, and I learned what 1111 was. It was a gateway opening,
Mm-hmm.
and I read it to him, and it was just wild. And then, he died, and I experienced 1111 with him on the other side.
Right. See, I got that with my mom. It was almost like she was saying hello when I would get it or whatever. Her birthday was November the 11th, though, so that's, I didn't know anything about synchronicities. I just thought the clock was reminding me of that, and you know what I mean? I
11.
I didn't know anything about synchronicities until lately. So,
But
yeah.
that is 11/11.
Yeah. It's amazing. Everything just lines up in a real synchronistic way. And I don't know if you heard the beginning of the broadcast where I said my trip was 1,111 miles round trip. Did
No.
you didn't catch that? You said it exactly the way I said
no,
it.
because I just got home from the grocery store and I just came on before I called you.
Yeah,
At the beginning of your...
I clicked my trip, and I took the trip down to Austin, came back, and when I got into my driveway, 1,111 miles, actually 1111.1, so there was 5 ones across there. And I said when I pulled my driveway,
and isn't that weird?
And you said that. That's
and isn't that
wild.
weird? Because then I'm telling you about my husband on his bike. He'd go on his bike rides. He'd hand cycle. And he pointed that out to me getting into the driveway. And no, I just got home, so... I just came on when Overprotected was talking to you, just finishing up. And then I realized, oh, it's already been 2 hours and you're going to be signing off? I better call.
Yeah. So do you think things have picked up for you since your husband passed away in 2011? Like the synchronicities and the signs from him, of course, are new, but just in general, just noticing things? Or was it more when you said 03 is when you had your accident and your third eye open?
Well, it was different
Yeah.
in 2003 when my third eye opened in June. That was different, but it was a dark night of the soul there.
Yeah.
But it was a dark night of the soul in a different way.
Yeah.
It was constant panic attacks. I mean, I was in Panicville constantly, and I don't know what I was picking up on, but maybe I was picking up on somebody else, somebody else's energy, and thought it was mine. But there was I was experiencing extreme fear, but didn't know where it was coming from, because it would just come out of nowhere. And so that must have been someone else's fear I was picking up. Maybe it was even my husband's.
Yeah.
You know, because he's paraplegic and he was getting older, and he's an avid skier. And he's going through, you know, probably growing older, and I don't know what I was picking up on. But, and then I had my own fears, because, you know, I felt like everything coming out of my mouth was hurting people.
Yeah.
And that's weird that, you know, people are, you know, they try to talk to their family members and friends, and they're not having any of it. But I think it's because they're scared.
Yeah.
Because once you open that door, you can't close it again. And they might innately know, and they're not ready.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just,
They're just not
you know,
ready.
once you try to talk to somebody so many times, or so many different people so many times, and you get treated like with, you know, they reject you, act like you're crazy, you just tend to not want to open your mouth to people anymore, you know, it's just, I don't know, that's, I think, why we all come together here and we can talk about stuff like this, and everybody's cool with it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we're the forerunners, the ones that are, you know, get to learn it over time, and it's been painful and the way we get it. But maybe they're going to get it in a way that they can handle it. I mean, not everybody can handle experiencing ghosts, and it would totally freak them out.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're scared to death.
Yeah.
And I think that's more what they're experiencing. They're scared to death. Maybe they've been through it before, and maybe it's their what do they call it? Their defense mechanism.
And I think, you know,
know
different, like, religion can put a lot of fear into people. You know, if you don't really focus on the things Jesus said, and instead you focus on sort of the more of the man-made religious stuff that sort of scares you in the church and things like that, then, you know, you just feel like there's something always out to get you. And if you make a little mistake, you open yourself up for, you know, I don't know. I just see how I feel like God's been in my life the whole time, whether I was in church or not, and Jesus has been there the whole time. And it really, I feel like we put these limitations and boundaries and create these, you know, I don't know, just this division, so to speak. You know what I mean? A lot of times.
I don't know that we're doing it. I don't know that it's just like you know, when he said he doesn't bring peace but a sword. I mean, so that is one aspect of Jesus. My husband, he said, I'll tell you what, I'll read a chapter of the Bible if you'll read Lord of the Rings. So I took him up on it, and he took me up on it, and he read, I think he started in Genesis, and he said that book, it contradicts itself all over the place.
Yeah.
And it does.
Yeah.
Jesus contradicts himself.
Yeah.
And so it didn't bother me before my husband died, but after he died, it's like, you know, no, I want to have this right because I really intend on, you know, being with you again someday.
Yeah.
And so I want to be right about this. I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
So when he said, you know, I bring not peace but a sword, so every time I get involved with an argument with someone, and it's constantly, and I realize, you know, even with my daughter or my mom or just anyone that I try to have a conversation with, it's usually the ones that I'm closest to that totally reject it. And it's kind of like, okay, so, but I have this in the back of my mind. So Jesus is preventing us from communicating. So my mom mentioned to me, maybe it's because if we're all caught up in each other, we won't focus within.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more, you know, like Lisa M. Harrison said, it's an inside job.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on that part. It's hard to work on yourself.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's kind of cool, though.
This is what you need to work on.
Yeah, it's easier to do that and to be, you know, even open-minded. Now I'm finding that, you know, for a while there, it was like I was in the wilderness all by myself with no one that thought like me, because you know, you leave a certain worldview and you leave all your friends behind, and, you know, they say, you're crazy, I don't know what you're wandering off in the wilderness for, but then you come to this opening, this clearing, and you see all these other people that have had similar paths as you, and you're like all hanging out together, and then you start helping each other point out things about each other in a really, you know, unjudgmental way, you know, people that really love each other. And then you can, because a lot of people can see things in you that you can't see, and if you know they're coming from you know, a different place, because it's hard for us to listen to family when they tell us things, you know, even though they might know, it's just they're too close to you, you know. But if other people that you don't know tells you things, you're a little bit more open to it, because you're like, well, let me consider that. You know, you don't have all this history to make you not want to listen to them, you know. But I don't know. I think it's like you're saying, it's an inside job, but it's almost like a path, a journey we have to take alone. You have to at least get to that point, you know. Yeah. There's part of it you must travel alone, I feel.
Well, if we were very, very that's what my mom said. Sometimes we really fight like cats and dogs, but we love each other unconditionally, so we can come back to each other.
Yeah.
But we can be really, really cruel to each other, you know. And I realize it's because my baggage is related to her, and her baggage is related to her mom and to me, because what she experienced that was passed on to her, you know, was passed on to me in a totally different way. That's how it is, you know. One thing happens to your, like what happened to my mom and her growing thing, and I won't discuss her deals, but you tend to want to do it differently with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
But the very thing you try to fix to make it better for your kids is the very thing that fucks them up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and you went with your best of intentions, but Jesus did say, you know, well, I am going to come between you. You know, you're not going to, this is not going to be easy. And that was something I was showed in my Dark Night of the Soul when I gave that man a ride.
Yeah.
And he showed me where he came and he put the fear of God into me. He showed me the moment it took place in my life. And then how it affected me with every relationship I've had.
It's all been tied together.
But I think it's all tied together. And my mom's was, it's all part of it. So, and then my raising my daughter and the way I was raised and the choices I made, I didn't see how I was harming her because I was so caught up in my own little world dealing with my shit that I didn't realize I was creating shit for her, thinking I was being a great mom.
Right.
Just don't see it. And so, but when I had the brain injury, I saw everything. And that was really painful because suddenly I thought, oh my God, I have to fix this. I don't just have to fix me. I need to fix everyone I've broken because I've affected them. And they don't even know how they've been affected by me because it's so subliminal.
Yeah.
Or, you don't even realize what you're doing with your best intentions is paving the road to hell for someone else.
You know
and
that,
then when you try to right that wrong, they don't want to hear about it. They're so over you, don't want to hear from you, so you can't even fix it.
it reminds me of that movie, The Butterfly Effect, where he just kept going back and trying to fix stuff, and he just kept making it worse and worse. It's almost like at a point you have to liberate them, and the damage that you've done is done, but if you try to fix too much, then it's like you heap more damage on there. It's, I don't know, that's what it seems like to me.
You can't fix it.
Yeah.
I think you're right. You remind me a lot of my husband in the way that you are very non-judgmental and very open and receptive.
Well, thank you. I think it was that change in me that's really helped me to grow more. It was like the more I realized that, I stopped lying to myself and saying, well, what do you know for sure? I'm like, well, I don't really know a lot of anything for sure, And, and then that makes you more open to other people's beliefs. You're like, well, maybe they're right. I don't know, and then you just hear what they have to say and hear their experiences. And then you realize, man, it seems like everybody's kind of on their own journey and, and doing their own thing and figuring it out. And, and it's like you're either making progress or you're not, is what I noticed. So it doesn't seem like any man's figured it out and says, well, here's the outline of what you need to do. It's almost like everybody's got a custom journey, that they need to take. And so I just kind of leave people wherever they're at on their journey and try not to feel like I know better than anybody,
I guess what I was seeing when I saw it was how painful their journey is. And, because people turn to self-medicating, they turn to alcohol and to drugs or, to self-medicating away the pain. But it keeps resurfacing. And it's like I see people and they're like a needle, stuck in a phonograph, like a record that keeps repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And they can't seem to get past that point. And you can see it. You can see where they're at. And a little truth will do them, but they're going to hate you for it.
Yeah.
They're not going to love you. They're going to hate you. They're going to reject you. You're going to be a thorn in their side, and they're not going to want to see you. They're not going to see that you're doing it from your heart. It's because it's painful, frickin' waking up. They're going to hate you for it. And I'm that. I'm the thorn in people's sides. I know that's who I am.
But that's how it is, when you're kids, when you're having to wake them up.
Fun.
No, when you're waking them up for school, it's the same thing, They hate that you're waking them up to go to school. They don't want to go, and they're mad at you sometimes. Sometimes they go to school mad because you were just doing what you were supposed to do, I guess that's just life.
Yeah.
Because you can't stop waking them up, right?
Well, I could be better about it. I know that I don't have, I have a way about me that rubs people wrong because I'm not tactful sometimes. And sometimes I say it wrong, and you can't put the cat back in the bag, you know, it's out.
Yeah.
And, but sometimes I feel like, well, maybe that's, my husband used to say to me, because I'd come home, I'd go to lunch with the girls, and I always felt like they really didn't want me there, but I'm the one that organized it.
Yeah.
I sat there listening. They'd say the same things. I'd be sitting there at this table. We'd have Chinese food, and it's like one person is talking about another person that's not there, and, you know, then another person is talking about their job that they hate and how things are really terrible there, and it's like the same conversation we'd be having. And I'd be sitting there, and I'd be knowing what we're all knowing, you know, at the beginning of it. And I'm, like, excited to share all this stuff with them and, you know, help them, but it rubbed them the wrong way, and it was 3 against 1. Yeah. And I opened up my fortune cookie, and it says, "Live not a life of mediocrity." And I didn't even know what the word meant. So I said, "What does that mean?" And none of them, they looked at it and kind of, they didn't say anything about it. And but that was the answer that came to me while I was having that thought in my head. You know, they're not even hearing me. Yeah. And so at that moment, I thought, okay, well, that's a message. So they're going to know me.
Yeah.
It turns out they know me to the point where they don't want to know me. So it'll be interesting when we all get to that place where we can see each other again, and I don't know how it's going to be.
It seems to me that it
I'm
always
talking
works.
about on the other side of all this.
Right. It seems to me it's better to just let them be where they're at on their journey, and, you know, let them wake up however they wake up, you know, because especially kids and their parents.
I think it's lonely because you feel like you want company in this, you know, journey you're on, and you're waking up, and then suddenly you find yourself without anybody to share it with. They're all 3 talking and saying what they want to say, but you can't say anything.
Yeah, it just leads
what
to an
you
argument
say
and stuff.
Yeah, but
that's why we got each other here.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I mean, at least we got that. That's huge because, you know, I don't know, 20 years ago when the internet wasn't all that big, we couldn't have something like that, you know. There was chat rooms and stuff, but I'm just saying this is really a new way for us to come together, and that's why I always say the Mandela effect to me has been a good thing, because it's really been a divine gathering of like-minded people that can see this stuff happening. Not to really exclude anybody, but to bring us together. And you think those who see it?
They're seeing it.
Oh, you do?
I think they're starting to see it. Yeah, my mom, you know, my brother's son came over, and he was talking about something, and my mom said, she just brought up, the sun is no longer yellow. She went to lunch with him, and she took a mustard bottle, and she says, the sun used to be yellow.
Yeah, that's a trip, isn't it?
She said, and now it's white.
Yeah.
And, you know, people weren't even looking up at the sky. They weren't looking up.
Yeah.
How can you not see that?
Yeah.
The clouds used to truck across the sky at a good speed, and now they just kind of reshape.
Yeah.
And if you look away and look back, they're suddenly different. It's just amazing. And and he did see that. He said, "Yeah, Grandma, you're right. It is." That's what she was telling me, and so that's kind of cool. So, and I think we're all waking up. We're just seeing things that we're ready to see. And like you said, don't force it, because, and that's something I'm learning slowly but surely. And I think it was mainly because, you know, I woke up in this place where I didn't recognize anything. I remember before I had my accident, I said, you know what, I would just like to be stoned all the time. Because I really liked getting stoned and watching movies.
Yeah.
And it was a thrill for me, or going out and gardening and being stoned. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you can't do that and do real estate. You know, you're working with contracts and people's lives here.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I had that accident, and it was like I was in this surreal place all the time, and it's like I'm constantly stoned.
Yeah.
It's that, you know, that place. And when you find yourself in that place and nobody else is there, what you really want is company. And so this is really cool with your Unbiased and On the Fence and all the other people that are waking up, you know, and they're waking up in different ways. They're seeing different things. Some people are focused on the political thing and that. Some people, the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Some people, the sky. Yeah. It would really be cool, though, if people started making the connections to all the other stuff.
Yeah.
They seem to focus on one thing.
Well, I think it's like a tool to wake them up, you know what I mean? So, like, I enjoy watching, like, some of the political stuff, but I don't get too pulled in because I see it more as a tool to wake those up that needed something like that, you know? For me, I don't really get pulled into the chaos of all that. I just kind of take interest in it, but let it play out how it's going to play out. But other people, you know, they're coming across information. They're like, what the heck's going on here? And it's like, you know, it's a process. We were all had things, you know, like rungs on the ladder, things that, you know, you come across that pull you a little bit more and more out and wake you up a little bit more and more. And so I think that's why I always say people are just on their own journey, and you can't, I wish you could help rush them through it, you know, and help them out, but they got to live it, you know what I mean?
think that where my thing is when I experienced the dark night of the soul and my hell on earth, and, you know, there was no one there to really help me. My mom helped me a great deal. She'd go into a store and there'd be a book staring at her, and she'd pick it up, and it was the perfect book that I could read for where I was at. And so my mom helped me considerably. Mm-hmm. So I did have that, but I was receptive to listening.
Yeah.
And not everyone is receptive, but I felt like, oh my God, you know, there are things that I had experienced that, you know, I really wish I had had a better foundation and been prepared to handle it.
Yeah.
Because it was freaky, and I had no basis for what I was experiencing, and I had no idea. And it seems like, you know, well, everyone's going to lose someone they can't live without.
Yeah.
Or a devastating loss at some point. And that's when I experienced it twice with my grandma, but I wasn't, you know, devastated with my grandma's death because it was time for her. But with my husband, it was like, you know, a shock.
Yeah.
I was not ready for that at all. It was like, came out of left field, and then to experience the dark night of the soul and, you know, all that weird-ass shit that came hitting me, it's like, I wouldn't want my child to have to experience that without having some warning.
Yeah.
You know, I tell her about the Mandela effect, and she doesn't want to hear about it. And, you know, she's experienced her own stuff, and she doesn't want it. She's pushing it away, and I'm supposed to respect that. But then at the same time, it's like, oh, I wish I could prepare you just so that, you know, just in case, if I were to die tomorrow, you know, I want you to know, if you experience the Mandela effect, you're not crazy.
Right.
I don't want you to end up in a, you know. So a little bit of warning is good, even if they push you down and push you away. At least they'll have had something.
Yeah, that's true.
Then they'll say, oh, that's what she was talking about, you know. So it won't come as such a shock, because for some people, they do end up institutionalized because they think they're crazy.
Yeah.
And other people think they're crazy and make them, and then they believe themselves to be crazy because everyone else thinks they're crazy.
Yeah, and then they
So
get
in a
them on all
way-
sorts of medication, and that makes them feel even more crazy. You know.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I think that the medication closed down the third eye.
Yeah. Me too.
It halts the awakening process,
Yeah.
and it just leaves them in a standstill position, and at some point, the levee's going to break.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to prepare my loved ones for. But you're right, you can't do that, and maybe we're prevented, and maybe that's why I bring not peace but a sword, because they're going to do this on their own.
Yeah. And I think you
Maybe
should
you're
rest
right
in
about that.
You should probably rest in the trust that you made it. You've had higher help this whole time. They have higher help, and you love them, and the main thing is that you love them and let their higher help do all the waking up. I mean, you can drip it. I always feel like you got to at least drip it, a little bit of information here and there, like you're saying, so that when you pass away, they'll have little things that they can remember that you said. But when you do too much, they shut down and they don't even hear you. So it's almost like a drip is all you can do, a little tidbit.
It's kind of like you plant the seeds, and then someone else is going to water it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, at some point, they're going to wake up and realize all this, and then they'll come to you. I've had this happen with friends that, I had mentioned things to, and it's like I never said anything. And then they do come back and they say things that they've, as if they're the ones that are just coming up with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even remember that you were the one that,
Yeah.
told them or got them there or, started it, because that's how closed down they were.
Yeah. I've seen that happen a lot, too, where people finally come around and you're like, dude, that's what I was telling you like 3 years ago and stuff, but they don't even remember that. It's like, so yeah, you are like planting that seed, and you just got to trust someone to come along and water it, and the sun to come along and shine on it, and it'll take root,
Yeah. But my husband also said to me, because I go to these luncheons with the girls and I'd speak my mind, and then I'd come home thinking, why did I say that? And, just fretting, or any number of things that I'd say. And he said, don't you get it, babe? There isn't anything you can say that is wrong.
Wow.
If you said it, it must have been meant to be said.
Yeah.
So I kind of see it that way, too. It's like, okay, well, yeah, because when you focus on having hurt someone with the truth, then you can get stuck in force them into a place maybe they weren't ready for. But if it happened, then it must have meant to happen, because it happened.
Yeah. Yep, totally. Thank you so much, Vicki. I've got to actually...
But then again...
Oops.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. There's a big delay there. But I was just going to say I need to wrap it up because my wife has to go to bed pretty soon. But yeah, I really enjoyed the talk with you. And if you send me those pictures, I'd like to get you back on. We can look at the pictures maybe next Friday or something. The stone, the post and the rocks, if you still got them. I'd like to know if they've changed too, if you can find them.
Is your email on the site?
Yeah, if you go to uotf.net, or it's shanecrob@gmail.com. It's actually on the website too, though. If you just go to uotf.net.
It's on the thing that I just called in, or on the website. Okay.
Yeah, uotf.net.
And I can just send it there.
It's in the description below the video too, towards the bottom. Yeah, uotf.net. I'll paste it into the chat. Do you ever get into the chat?
I've done it. Yeah, on this chat here.
Yeah.
You posted into this chat? Okay.
Yeah, I just posted it in there, so you can scroll up and click it that way, or look in the description underneath the video. It's there as well.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate it, Vicki. Yeah, I'd like to see those pictures, and I'm sure everybody else wants to see them too. I'd like to know if they've changed. Like if you go and look and you took pictures at 3 different times, but they all look the same now.
Oh, they're not there anymore. They're gone. They're all gone. And I took pictures of the, a few days before when there wasn't any, rocks, except for that one on the post. And I don't know if I took a picture of that. Eventually I did. But like I said, a few days later, they were all over the place. So I know that we interact with the other side, and they interact with us in a profound way.
Yeah, definitely.
So if they can change that, and then I wondered, did I do that?
Yeah.
But I think it was him. I know he was pulling on my bike.
Yeah.
And slowing me down, and I was, in tears, crying. But it was like his way. He would tease me that way.
Yeah.
I'd go to get in the truck, and he'd stop, and he'd go, and he'd lock the doors on me, tease me. So I know that he was doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
definitely.
okay. So.
Well, I appreciate it.
Let you get to sleep.
Okay, lots of love to you, Vicki. Thanks for calling.
Okay. Lots of love to you. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's see here. Okay, I had somebody that had been holding for a long time, and I was going to bring them on, but they hung up. At least to see what they had to say, just because they waited for so long. But I'm actually over the 3-hour mark right now, so I guess we'll have to take this up next Friday. Lots of love and light to everybody. We're going to be back, Eileen and I, tomorrow night, so please join with that. And let's see. Yeah, tomorrow night, The Power of 8 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Lots of love and light to each and every one of you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good one. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.